Hey, Internet! Welcome to episode 7 of Spooky Saturdays, a just chatting installment where I share spooky conversation with friends on the internet. Uh, Today is actually a different kind of episode. Normally, we read creepy pastas or share stories that users submit or that uh, other people are just sending to us personal events. But today I'm joined by the Mistress of Misery, Tygrezz, and Sunshine Owl from the up and coming YouTube channel Happily Morose. For their YouTube link in chat at any point in time, you guys can put exclamation point cryptid and it will bring you the link just like that. Nope, that's there it is. There it is. I am professional. But we're going to be talking about cryptids today. We're going to be talking about folklore. We're going to be talking about different urban legends and some really just creepy stuff. I'm very excited about it. So, ladies, how are we doing this fine Saturday?
I'm
Doing
doing
pretty
pretty
good. How are
good.
you?
As you
Oh,
can see, we're in sync when we talk. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking, Jackie. I mean, Bunny. Oh, suck it.
We just went over this. Cut it. The stream's done. Bye.
Immediately.
I'm so sorry, Bunny.
No,
We
that's. I knew it was gonna
literally just
happen.
talked about this.
That's a great start.
Oh man, yeah. I think my OBS updated it. It's doing something weird with the chat thing. I'm not gonna bother with it because Zombified Potato will be back and he'll fix it on the fly. We'll get it figured out. It's gonna be okay. So, Sunshine and
Yes.
Ty, hello, what's up? So you
Hello.
guys have a YouTube channel, Happily Morose. What kind of
That is correct.
content can we find on there?
Well, Bunny Bear, you can find anything about weird history facts, horror books and movies, and also talking about what we're going to be talking about today, cryptids and other things of the supernatural that we debate whether if they are actually real or not.
Fantastic. I love it. So, with that being said, the real question that I would like to pose as we're kind of getting into everything, and I'm just so pumped for it. Are they real? So, I'm actually going to start us off. I'm pretty pumped about this particular situation. I mean, I think everybody on the internet in the world fully gets that the last decade has been crazy. And in recent memory, there's been some really crazy stuff. The one I want to talk about are the clown sightings. Do you guys remember this?
You mean the time where there were clown sightings for like a summer? Was this in 2012?
I thought it was
2016.
2016.
Was it 16? Oh my bad. Why do I have 2012 stuck on the brain? Oh
I
my
said
god.
decade. I got you confused. Time's not real.
But yeah, like for a summer there was those crazy clown sightings, and then just like that they were done and gone, and people were just like, don't remember.
I'm going to be real with you. So, full disclosure, and that this is not a dig on anyone who chooses clowning as their profession. I have a mad respect for circus folk. Is that if that's PC to say it like that? If it's
I would say
not,
so.
chat, call me out. But I have mad respect for that. But clowns creep me the fuck out. Like some kids are like, yeah, I love like a birthday clown, all sorts of crazy stuff. I was not that kid. I was like, nope, I'm out. Good day. And
Here's the thing. I've never met anybody who actually likes clowns. And I do feel a little bad for actual clowns, like people who choose that as a profession because of John Wayne Gacy and the fact that he kind of tainted the whole thing as well.
I mean, there's so much stuff, and I don't know if it's like the whole like clowns kind of being like reminiscent of dolls and how dolls are just generally creepy. I
Mm.
don't really know, to be honest. I know that one time I went through one of those little haunted maze walkthroughs and I almost cold cocked a clown in the face because he jumped up at me. And instead of cold cocking him, I scolded him and said, "Why would you do that?" And the man was literally just doing his job. Like, I feel bad,
Yeah.
but it is a thing that happened. I'm just not, personally, I'm not a thing. But 2016, we saw that resurgence. Hey, Jake. Jake's the chat. Um, we saw that whole like thing where it gained a lot of traction of like just creepy ass clowns. And it wasn't just in the United States. It was kind of everywhere. So I kind of wanted to like go over like a little bit of a timeline and just some stuff that I found about this that is super interesting. So before 2016, uh, there were some creepy clown sightings in Northampton, England in 2013. It was actually a part of a trio of content creators who were trying to create like hype for their project by just having a creepy like dancing clown in weird places, like to get people to go to their like Facebook page and stuff, which was, I mean, marketing is marketing, right? No press is bad, press is still press.
All press is good press.
That's right.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, at the end of the day, you're on someone's mind. Uh, then the next year, there was that, I don't know if you guys remember the YouTube dudes who started doing the like dressing up as a clown and then jumping out at people randomly.
Oh yeah.
There was that whole thing and it went viral. Like, and honestly, had that been me who had been jumped out at, I would have scolded that person who was at that point just like the dude in the haunted trail, just doing his job.
I mean,
But
it's better to
that,
scold than to punch.
I mean, scold is better than punch any day for sure. I don't condone violence on anyone except for Nazis, but that's the whole thing. Um, that's not real. But it was not just that though, because that was the YouTube thing in Italy. But around the same time, there was a random clown that would photobomb in people's photos in California. Just
Remember
popping
that.
up like photobomb, just creepy ass clown. And then the following year in 2015, this is where it starts to kind of get a little creepy. So these two dudes were walking late at night past a cemetery, and they see a creepy clown just scale the gate to the cemetery. So after the clown scales the cemetery's wall, it turns to these people and it just starts waving really slow, long enough for them to make a video recording of it. And then the clown stopped and booked it into the woods, and nobody saw the clown after that. It was enough for the police to get involved, but no one was ever arrested.
Huh.
But all of that kind of leads up to 2016, where clowns creepily being everywhere kind of blew up. So in Wisconsin, the beginning of August, there was a few pictures that were floating around social media on the internet um, of just a clown just walking around in a parking lot. Uh, and the clown's name was Gags. I mean, this was a story that got picked up national news wise. Like, USA Today did a story on it. Um, Turns out that the character was related to a horror film that was being produced, a short film, and they were going to do they did a wide release of it in 2019, so 3 years after. But like that was to gain height.
What
The
was the horror film, do you know?
It was titled Gags,
Interesting.
which I guess is the name of the clown. I mean, I'm not here to judge a clown name. I don't know how clowns do their business. Like,
Right, and like I understand the name Gags, but at the same time, the internet is not
A friendly place.
rule
clean-minded place.
Rule 34 is a thing. Just gonna put that out there. Um, that can be anyone's risky click of the day. Outside of this. But the thing is, it wasn't just the Gags incident. That kind of opened the floodgate of what people kind of it became like the 2016 like clown epidemic, the phenomenon where clowns just started popping up. So between August and end of October, there were several incidents just popping up across the United States and then in Canada. 9 out of the 13 provinces in Canada had reported multiple creepy clown sightings. Um, and then after those reports started going, we had clowns popping up in the UK, in Australia. I mean, British communities, I am again not in the UK, but they were reported in different reports about these instances as people were just terrified, horrified. And I guess with all this going on, people were pressing for the police to get involved everywhere with this. Which, like, I part of me is like, yeah, I get that because I get creeped out by clowns personally. But like, did the clowns do anything? Or were they
Right,
just
was
being
anybody
creepy?
hurt? Were they trespassing? Or yeah, you can't arrest for somebody just for being creepy. Look up hoodwinked. You can't arrest somebody for just being creepy.
So, I mean, we'll touch on some of that in a little bit, but do you guys know that there's a World Clown Association?
Not surprising.
I found
I did
out
not.
that it's a real thing. And
That,
during all of this whole situation, the president of the World Clown Association publicly took a stance against the trend and was just like, hey guys, it's not cool to dress up like a clown to frighten people. Um, Primarily because during all this, those performance based clown related businesses like the circus, were experiencing business impacts, like negative business impacts. I mean, even McDonald's actually had to scale down how prevalent Ronald McDonald was in their advertising spots and like in their branding because of all this. It hit McDonald's, y'all.
oh damn.
Yeah, it was definitely a bad time to be a professional clown, for sure.
No, not
There was
because
one
like
funny fact that I did find out though. So all this is going on, all these businesses are being impacted, and Scotland's clown costume sales skyrocketed.
Not surprised.
I love it. I can't even be mad. I'm just like, you know what?
I feel like Scotland is just chaotic energy. Like that
I'm
is
here for it.
Scotland.
I'm here for it.
I love Scotland because they're chaos incarnate and I love it. I just absolutely love it.
So the weird thing though, the other weird thing that I found out, you would think that Florida would just lean hard into this because of Florida man energy just in general. But actually it was a common thing around trick-or-treating time for residents to be escorting their children armed. Like, there were mobs, like, trying to take out clowns.
Yeah, that's
That
definitely
makes more,
Florida.
honestly, that makes more sense for Florida. Not for them to become
Mhm.
clowns, but for them to fight the clowns.
It really
You know,
does.
actually, now that you say that, I totally see that perspective. Yes. Justified.
Yeah, I can
Oh,
see Florida people doing that. Being like, clown around, find out.
clown around,
Around
find
and
out.
find out.
That's my only zinger for the
Someone
night.
put that on merch. Oh, it I mean, it got like it also international police, and government authorities were even like involved in addressing the clown situation. There were some places in the United States, in Canada, and in New Zealand where they were pulling clown costumes off the shelves as fast as they could. School boards were banning people dressing up like clowns, clown masks on the property. Like, there was a crazy response to it. Um, what just started out being like just creepy clowns wandering around, being in weird places. Like, there were a lot of photos that were floating around of like clowns just like standing in a forest or like over on an overpass, just like innocuous, weird places for clowns to just be. And I definitely get it's unsettling because I'm unsettled by it.
Oh, a quick thing though. Like, okay, we get lots of pictures, and you know me. I am the Scully of the group.
Yeah.
So, how many of these photos can we say weren't fucking staged?
Well, there was definitely instances that have been confirmed to have been staged, but a lot of these instances we just don't know. Like, it could be a thing where people just decided that they was gonna clown around and find out. Love that.
That's valid. I also think though, like the whole, it is creepy that it happened globally. At the same time, we live in an age of the internet where people from all over the world can talk to each other. So I wouldn't put past that there's some forum where people decide to just like, hey, I'm gonna do this creepy crap, and other people are like, oh, hey, that sounds like fun. I'm gonna do that too.
Craigslist. Guarantee it.
That sounds about right for
Just
Craigslist.
like trying to organize a Craigslist meetup like, yo, now's the time to strike. There were some news outlets. I'm not going to name specific outlets, but they were reporting like the week before Halloween. They were hyping this whole like, be careful, there could be an alleged clown initiated purge or a clown attack, like massive clown attack that was going to take place on Halloween or Halloween Eve.
And of course, that gets people, kind of gearing up and going like, "Oh, mom mentality," because
Yeah.
that's what happens. The news makes you scared. So I
Well,
remember, like, I can't remember. I think it was my mom's age. Like, there was that whole thing of people putting razors and apples or in the candy.
Oh god, yeah, I remember. Careful, kids. People are gonna be handing out drugs.
And here's the thing: it doesn't
drugs
really
are in this
happen.
economy, drugs are expensive. I'm not going to give drugs to kids. Like,
Yeah, who would?
You know what I would do? I would hand out like actual gummy bears and be like, "Here you go, kid, a little spike for you." And the kids think there's drugs in it, but it's just a normal gummy bear.
sugar gets kids pumped. Like, I can remember being a kid. Check your kids' candy might contain clown.
Clowns.
That's
Cherry potato.
that's facts on waffles for sure.
Also,
There,
Shadow, that's a creepy face. Can you not, sir?
this was the perfect time to do that.
That really was.
There was an instance. I wasn't able to confirm that it took place legitimately, but I wasn't able to find anything to disprove it didn't happen. But apparently, there was a family in Florida that on Halloween, a group of about 20 people in clown costumes and clown masks assaulted them.
Oh, jeez.
I wasn't able to get a lot of information on it. Chat, if you find yourself bored and want to do some research, we would love to get some information. on this just for like our own edification, you know? I would like to, where am I typing? I'm trying to accomplish a goal, but I'm not good at it.
We believe in you, Jack.
Professional.
We believe in you, Bunny. We believe in you, Bunny.
Every time.
Chica,
Is
I
my,
got myself.
is this
I
not
know.
that was muy
working?
malo. Malo.
You should stop talking.
Maybe did I do my
Sorry.
chat command wrong? Oh no, I broke the internet. No, I was
No,
just
there it goes.
It was me.
Someone fact check this. We need answers.
Absolutely. I created some stuff. But
I love
yeah,
it.
like you were saying with mobs, there were mobs. In the United States, there were legitimately groups of people at different state universities, like not just in one area, in different areas, who created, like kind of ganged up together to create mobs to search for clowns after reported sightings. Like someone would be like, yo, I just saw a creepy clown. And suddenly, Chad and
Yeah,
his
20
30
people
friends
killed.
were like, let's go, and went to go find the clowns.
Which happens all the time. No matter what it is, anytime there's a cryptid that really gets in the community, whether it be killer clowns or something else, people are like, oh, hey, let's grab the guns and go hunt. And I just don't understand it. Why do you want to start a fight? Luckily,
Listen,
they never
I'm
find
gonna be real
anything.
with you, like, as a person who can be skeptical, but more often than not, will give some, like, leeway for, like, maybe this is real. Um, I am a strong proponent of mind your fucking business. Like, oh, cool, that's an otter deer. I didn't see it. Minding my business, just gonna go the other way. Not, I didn't see that. Exactly, because that's how you avoid getting eaten. Or,
I saw a TikTok of a guy opening his door. He's like, hey, I heard a sound, so I had to go investigate. He opens his door, and there's like a deer like 10 feet from him. And it was stitched with somebody else going, look, as your neighborhood black man, I'm going to tell you just because you hear a sound, that does not mean you have to
that is,
investigate.
oh my god, I was actually talking to a friend recently, where it's like that, like the suburban, like, white couple that, like, somehow has, like, money enough to buy a really amazing house, but it's like an
Mhm.
older house. And, like, there are clear signs, like, during the beginning where it's like, wow, you haven't even finished, like, closing on this house. There are some huge red flags, but, like, look at the crown molding on this. Look at the original teak floors. Like,
You know where they
no,
would get me with that kind of thing? Clawfoot bathtub.
Same. And Jackie,
exactly.
I've heard that story. I've heard that story. Heel and I actually went.
Chica!
Sorry. Son of a bitch. Sorry.
I don't even care at this point.
You're
Like,
killing
Sorry,
me.
buddy. I'm killing me too.
You're killing me. Like I'm like this close to driving to your house just to kick your butt.
I deserve that.
but yeah, that's all I got on killer clowns. It was definitely a weird, like, a weird time to be alive. I can remember having people, like old roommates, reaching out to me. People, because I have a lot of friends, I network, um, naturally because of who I am as a person. And I had so many people reaching out to me in those few months, being like, "Did you hear about the clown over here? Are you safe?" I'm like, "From what? A clown?"
What's a clown gonna do?
Be creepy. Oh, I don't. I'm very, like, uncomfortable with the situation, but I also recognize that a few individuals acting bad shouldn't reflect the whole clowning community. If
Right.
there's a
And I
community, I feel like if there's a world association, like, that's got to be.
well, because there are people who legit do it to bring joy to others. And I know there's like even like clown schools where you go to learn to be a proper clown.
And, like, their makeup gets trademarked. Like, it's like you
Mhm.
have
It's a
specific makeup.
big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
And you know, if that's what you want to do, I'm not going to hire you because I personally don't like clowns. Like you said, it's like kind of like a doll thing. I don't know if it's like the almost mask-like nature of the makeup where
The
you
whole,
can't
like,
truly
uncanny valley, but also not.
yeah, something about it. But also the fact that like clowns like this past incident of 2016 with the clown sightings or like we said John Wayne Gacy and you know the fact that he was a serial killer. Like they get a lot of bad rap and they use clowns in creepy media like horror movies, you
The whole
know.
Pennywise thing, which, like, I haven't watched the new ones,
I need
But
to watch the second one.
here's
Nope.
the thing, I haven't watched the new ones. But I feel like I already know it because it was a remake. Like, oh, okay, can't really imagine it's changed much.
They actually, because they cut it up into two different
Why all the
exactly,
makeup? What
potato.
are
What
they
are they
hiding?
hiding? But because they cut it up into two different movies, they were able to put more of the actual book into the movies. Because that
That's
first
right.
one, the made with Tim Curry, they had to cut a lot of things out, which, it happens with movies, but there's just so much story to it. So,
That's fair and reasonable. I legitimately get so angry about, as a book reader, I get angry when IPs get grabbed up for movies or TV shows and you're like, I'm so pumped. And then they cut out Tom Bombadil.
I knew that's where this was going.
And
I
it's
knew
like,
she's going to talk about Tom Bombadil. I know it.
no.
Worst thing
Okay,
ever could
Peter
have done.
Jackson, fantastic filmographer, did great work, except that I don't know who made that call, but it was stupid, and I'm saying it on the internet. It's my opinion, but it's also a fact that it was a bad decision. And that's all I'm going to say on that, because like this is not about Lord of the Rings, it's about creepy stuff. If y'all want me to rant about Lord of the Rings, Sunshine and I will gladly do that for hours on end.
Oh, like I'm right with you, Bunny. I have so much reference material I can use to help. Like we could go on for hours.
This chick's got books right now. She's surrounded by a whole like whiteboard situation. It's a Pepe Sylvia thing. I love it and I'm here for it. But that's all I really had on the clown thing. So chat, I mean, you guys can mull it over, ponder it with us, in your own time. Later on, when you're thinking about, wow, it looks dark out, I wonder what's that weird thing over there? Is it a clown?
Leave
Is
it
this a
alone.
real thing? Are the clowns still out there? What's
Remember,
going
clown
on?
around and find out.
Clown around and find out. I need to like write that down. I'm gonna send it in our group message so I can remember it. I'm
My
actually
one good
just
singer of the year.
it's listen, excellent. That's a potent quotable if I've ever heard one.
Well, thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. So that's what I have there. I know that we also have a few other things we want to get into. So let me hand it on over to Sunshine, and I want to hear what sort of crazy stuff we got going on.
Hi, I'm Sunshine. Hear that kitty cat? I'm Sunshine.
I'm leaving.
Hey,
Oh,
hey.
fun.
Every time.
Every time.
Freaking clockwork.
So it's actually a good lead in to what we were just talking about because, with the clown sightings, you had mob mentality. And with this story we're going to talk about, again, mob mentality.
Love it.
Which
People are
yeah,
garbage.
oh my god, yeah. So we're talking about today's most famous devil, the Jersey Devil, or also commonly known as the Leeds Devil, which I found out about recently.
Yeah, because it's in the Pine Barrens.
It is. Yeah, and I was looking up. Apparently, this is the origin of the legend.
All right,
So
I'm ready
the
for it.
Jersey. Yeah, okay, you ready? On a dark and stormy night.
Ooh, spooky.
I don't know if it was or not, but apparently, allegedly, Mother Lead, or Jane Lead as she was called, had already 12 kids, which is quite a lot, and she became pregnant with the 13th, and she's like, oh, I don't want to be pregnant again. This sucks. And so she cursed the kid. She's like, nah, fuck you. You're going to be the fucking devil you come out, you fucking bastard. Like, she hated this.
I've never been pregnant, but I have a lot of sisters. So, like, I feel like that's like a week 42 thought. Like, of gestation. Like, I'm over it. Like, that's awful, though.
Oh, definitely. Like, I could not imagine having 12 kids. Like, that is a lot. So around
That
1730...
hurts me.
It hurts you. So about 1735, on a stormy night, she goes into labor, and a lot of her friends come to help her with it. And at first, when the baby's born, he looks normal, right? He looks like a healthy little baby. But as soon as, according to one legend, says as soon as he starts breastfeeding, another says as soon as he's popped out, he starts to morph into this weird creature with a horse head, cloven hooves, leathery bat wings on his back, and he shoots up out of the chimney and heads straight into the pines. And in other versions of this myth, they say that Mother Leeds was a witch, and that the child's father was a devil. Like, she never cursed the child. She, had an affair with the devil and gave birth to the child.
Okay.
And, yeah. Now, here's the thing: as I was doing the research, I'm like, okay, well, it seems a little weird that they already have like a name for a family, right? Like, that's a little strange. So I started looking into it more, and apparently there was a Leeds family in the area at the time. Now, granted, the woman's name wasn't named. Her name wasn't Jane. It was Deborah Leeds, and her husband was Japhet. I think I'm saying that right. Japhet Leeds. And it has written down that they did have like 12 children, and they were around alive. They were around during this time frame. So it's quite possible that this would have been about them, because as I was reading up on this, give me a minute to take some water. Japhet Leeds was not really liked in the community. So according to what I found out, he and his wife were both Quakers.
Mm-hmm.
And he was having some trouble in the community because he had a printing press where he printed the Farmer's Almanac. Now, something he did that other Quakers were really frowning upon is he actually started printing astrological. Thank you, Caitlin. Symbols and writing in his pamphlets. Now, if you know anything about
Just
paper,
do it to me now.
just kill you now.
No, you don't. We talk about it. I swear to God, it goes in one ear and out the other.
5 minutes before we went live, we all agreed.
I'm so sorry.
No,
Doxing
it's
you.
fine. I'm not even mad about it.
I'm not mad that she's saying it. I'm mad that we talked about it.
I'm so sorry, Ty. I'm so sorry, buddy.
We talked about it.
Honestly,
so
this is
excited.
amazing, and I love you guys so much, and I knew that this would happen, and I'm not even mad, because this is I'm tickled. But I am curious. I have questions about the Jersey Devil, but I want to hold it for a little bit.
Yep. So hold on. We'll get to that. So when I was looking up the research, he started printing all this stuff in his Farmer's Almanac. Now, what's the problem with this, Jackie?
I don't know. What's wrong with it?
It's considered pagan or blasphemous or witchcraft.
Yeah, what's wrong with it,
Print
Alyssa?
an almanac?
Yeah.
Am I dumb?
No. You got to remember, this is like the 1700s, Jackie. Like, printing that kind of stuff in a Quaker paper. Yeah, that's gonna get you some trouble. Because they're like, oh, this is like witchcraft. You can't be doing this.
That's witchcraft. No, I'm uncomfortable.
Weren't Quakers like super conservative?
They really were, but Leeds was really into this stuff. He was into the cult. He was into mysticism, demonology, angelology, natural magic. So he started printing more and more stuff in his paperworks. And it led to the point where he actually left the Quaker community and switched religions. And so after he did that, suddenly everyone's going around saying, he's cursed with a demon child. Like, there was a lot of talk, and even work that was printed by other publishing places going, yeah, he has a devil child. His 13th child is a devil. And really slandering the family name.
I wonder if there's any connection just because of, like, that whole, everybody jumps on the number 13 as being unlucky.
That's what I was thinking too.
Or like whatever.
That's interesting, because that's like a Western belief.
It really is a Western belief.
It really is. But here's the thing: according to the records, he only had 12 children written down in his will. But then again, a lot of families at this time had a lot of children who never always made it to adulthood.
No, that's a real thing. I mean, I come from an absurdly large family. I will openly tell that to everyone. But like, we live in like a modernish time with like soap, basic hygiene, medicine, antibiotics. Like, these are things that people 1800s, 1700s, back in the day, which was a Wednesday, they didn't have that. So it was super like, oh, I cut my finger on something. It's a little like a pinprick, but now I have sepsis and I die.
Well, because they had no concept of bacteria.
Yeah. And also just like the whole thought of like medicine, like how it was approached was like weird. Like I've got ghosts in my blood. I'm gonna do cocaine about it. Like my
I mean,
concern, my question, this is the first thing I thought of when you started talking about the Jersey Devil being born and all that and how he changed. I'm kind of glad that he changed into the Jersey, like transformed into his Jersey Devilness
Oh, yeah, because
after he
imagine
was
giving birth
born.
to that.
Could you imagine? Like,
oh, that would have been
ooh,
terrible. That would have sucked.
that would have sucked. I mean, the whole thing's kind of makes me
Right?
sad.
The whole thing
But,
is horrible.
but
It does, and, the reason why he looks the way he does, apparently the lead's, crest, the family crest, was
mhm.
that of a wyvern? Wyvern?
Wyvern.
Wyvern.
Yes, it's a dragon, it has the 2
It's not a
long wings.
dragon.
It's
Sorry.
oh, am I thinking something else?
No,
It's dragon related, but it is not quote unquote a
A
dragon.
dragon.
I
I
could.
know, I
It's.
know,
I
but
mean,
just
it's
think of it as
commonly even. I mean, honestly, Game of Thrones did it too. Where like the
they
Daenerys's dragons were not dragons; they were wyverns.
Correct, because they did not have actual legs. They had 2 legs and 2 wings, whereas dragons have 4 legs and 2 wings.
Or
Or
depending
no
on
wings.
the region, no wings.
Correct, but there's always 4 legs.
that's fair. But yeah, no, so that's kinda
Dragon's
why
cousin.
Dragon Cousin, I'm going to go with that now, I love that. So that's kinda why it looks the way it does. Now, according to newspaper sightings in 1909, there was some strange creature that people saw between January 16th and January 23rd that was wreaking havoc for in the area between South Jersey and the Philadelphia area. Like you had numerous papers talking from multiple victims saying that they were attacked by this Jersey Devil and describing this strange like creature. And then
And the fact that
after
it made written communication in pamphlets at a time where news was not as frivolously broadcasted as it is now. That's crazy. So
well,
it
if you
had to
think
have been
about it,
big.
yeah, definitely. But you think about it, humans have always done like that. Back when the beast of Levion in France was attacking, it was in all international newspapers. Like it was a huge story. Of course, people love that. They love hearing about this strange cryptid coming around attacking people. Like they dive right into it.
I
But
mean,
here's the thing.
that doesn't
Yeah,
surprise me because I feel like sensationalism always has been a human trait. I mean, look at some of our guilty pleasure shows like Maury or what's up? Jerry Springer.
Jerry Springer.
Things like that. We've always been into sensationalism and the drama.
we do love trash TV. We really do. But after January 23rd, a lot of people, according to some of the articles I read, they were like, yep, after that, the Jersey Devil died. He just died, everybody. Like,
He
there
just
was
dipped
nothing
out.
afterwards. He just dipped out. He's like, goodbye. Like, you'd have, like, stories over the years, but nothing huge, like, not to this extent until, like, the 1960s, when May's Landing claimed that, she had seen the Jersey Devil and that there was all these tracks and noises around her area. And at that point, uh, there was like a $10,000 reward offered, and a bunch of people were going out hunting for it, trying to find it, trying to capture the creature or get a picture of the creature. And here's the thing: as I was looking through this stuff, trying to find some evidence, apparently the alleged footprints were actually a hoax. Someone actually created that and just kind of left them out there. So unfortunately, I couldn't find any evidence that the Jersey Devil really made a comeback in 1960. But people were going out looking for it, like, oh, $10,000 reward, we gotta find this creature and house it.
I mean, back in the 60s, $10,000 was no joke. I don't know maths very well. Don't. But I feel like inflation, that would have been a lot of money, like in nowadays
Um,
money.
I mean, hell, I'd be going out there for $10,000. I still could. I mean, the money's unclaimed. You girls feel like going down to Jersey real quick?
$1 in the 1960s is equivalent to about $9.50 today.
Okay, that's some good money right there.
Math.
So if it was 10,000, it'd be like 95,000.
Ooh, see? And that is probably why it brought in that hype. Like, people were like, hey, that's some good on money right there.
Yeah.
Like, I'd go for it.
Now, did it say if it was 10,000 in that time money or today time money?
That
Because
time money.
sometimes,
Like, it was
okay.
$50,000 in that time money. And it went unclaimed because even though people were going out hunting for this creature, no one could find it. Like, again, you could see, like, people said there were even now there's still sightings of the creature, but there's no actual evidence to prove that it's there. Which
So
really sucks.
if we suspend our disbelief and we just buy in, okay, the Jersey Devil, facts on facts, all of it's real. Let's just
You're
say that.
asking a lot of me.
We're just take the leap with me, Ty. Come on. All right. So
She won't.
let's
She won't.
let's propose that the Jersey Devil is a real thing, really exists. Okay. So how can we justify the longevity of the Jersey Devil being a thing? Okay, maybe they're like super long lived, like Elven race in D&D. Like if we use that, like okay, that makes like a different type of creature has like kind of like how there are turtles, tortoises, torti,
Tortoises, yes.
tortoises. Thank you.
Like the Galapagos tortoises.
Yeah, like that, like live a super long time. So I mean, it wouldn't be outside of the realm of belief that there is a creature out there that mayhaps have lived this long. But how do we justify, okay, so where did it go for that whole section of time? Especially with people actively looking for it off and on.
Okay,
Or-
well let's buy into the fact that it's a child of the devil. You know, that could explain its quote unquote immortality and the fact that it's hard to find.
And the whole idea of like interplanar travel, if you buy into the Judeo-Christian, like again, there's a lot to buy into to make this plausible, but if you do if you follow a specific like thought path, I could definitely see where someone could make the argument that it is viable. This is like a thing. Do I personally think the Jersey Devil is real? No. But there are definitely things out there that I can't specifically explain away. And even things like thought creations, where you put enough energy into something, you feed it until it becomes like, I think it's like a tulpa.
Yes,
It's
that
like
sounds correct.
one example of like a thought form that can take, like, again, this is suspending your disbelief, but I mean, it's not completely unheard of in different cultures for somebody's height. Hey T, why would you hunt a child of the devil? I feel like that's a hellacious death request. Just saying. No, for sure.
Okay, but people are dumb, to be
That's
fair.
what happens when you clown around and find out. Potent quotable. I don't, there's just so much out there that's begging the question. If it is real, how? Why? We need more answers. We can't definitively say for certain, given that there are creatures out there that people have in the past mistaken for something else because of folklore, because of the mindset that they're in when they saw it, like what their realm of knowledge was when they saw it. You know?
Right. Let's take, for example, a conversation that I was having with Chica earlier was medieval times and priests writing about these creatures, and they're describing these creatures. You're like, oh, this is a fanciful creature. And what did you say? They were describing a dragon and it turned out to be a giraffe?
Yeah, cloven hooves of a... I'm trying to remember the... You know what? Let me look it up real quick. But yeah,
But
they were
basically-
describing a giraffe.
Basically, they describe these creatures. And you're like, oh my God, what is this creature? There's a whole TikTok thing. Like, this guy has a whole channel based off of reading medieval descriptions of animals, and you have to guess what it is. And it turns out it's an animal that you would have never guessed what it was because the description does not match what it's describing. And neither do the pictures that they drew.
People
And then
get
on another
crazy.
side of it, like the whole thing of like, oh, Mr. Lead was disliked in the community, in a conservative Christian community.
So it's
And
totally
because he
within the
was
possibility that this is like a rumor mill thing.
exactly because like let's think about it. Think about the Salem witch trials or any of the witch trials where people are like, oh, I don't like this. You to find out that they just didn't like people. I'm like, how can I ruin their life and get them out of my life without dirtying my hands at all? Oh, I know. I'll accuse them of consorting with the devil.
In honestly, and this is just like two things I want to say. First, floor lore is how I used to work in a manufacturing place, and we used to refer to it as floor lore when someone would be like, "Did you hear about so and so?" And then it would just as it flowed through different departments all around. And when it finally got, it was like a giant game of telephone. By the time it got back to you a second or third time, the little thing that you heard had been blown completely out of proportion. Crazy stuff was happening. Suddenly, there was a clown in that dude's backyard because it was 2016. Like, wild, wild stuff. Also, medieval art, medieval descriptions of stuff. There is a subreddit called Medieval Cats, where people
Yes.
have cats drawn in medieval outfits. Super cute. Just gonna plug that for free. It's cute. You should do it. But also there's like, did you guys ever see like the pictures of like medieval draw, like real ass medieval art with just gigantic snails?
What is it they had
Yes.
against snails? Like they must have seen
I'm
actual
scared.
snails.
I'm scared. Like,
You would
is there? Because like megafauna is a thing. It's like a legitimate scientific fact that megafauna exists. So like,
so why not giant snails?
why not giants? At one point, could giant snails have been a thing?
I mean, yes,
We
I
need
feel like giant snails
answers,
could have been a
chat.
thing because there were giant everything, like giant sloths, giant, things we have today that were way bigger.
Well, I was going to say in ancient China, they used to dig up dinosaur bones, and because they didn't know what it was at the time, they actually figured that it was dragon bones. They considered it to be dragons. So yeah.
All right. Okay. We're gonna. I want to get us back to topic,
pretty
but real
real, yeah.
quick, we also don't have any proof that T-Rexes aren't dragons, because you can
That's
look
it.
at chicken, how the anatomy of chicken's skeletal structure, and chickens have wings, but their skeletal structure is similar to that of a dinosaur.
You know what else
So,
is similar? If you look at the skeletal structure of a leopardon, it's very similar to that of a penguin.
Oh shit. That makes so much sense. It's all coming together, Caitlin.
penguin facts.
Fuck.
Well, I'm like, the more we
Bird
learned, the
facts!
more they were less terrible lizards and more they were terrible birds.
Birds.
And they still are terrible
Birds are
birds.
the real concern here, not clowns, not the Jersey Devil. Birds.
Yeah,
Get in
chickens
the
are evil.
comments.
Yeah, if you know anything about chickens, and I feel like we all know about chickens,
We
we've
all
all
know
grown
about
up around farmlands. Chickens are terrifying. They will eat anything, including each other.
And it's
Or
always
themselves.
shocking. It's super shocking. Super shocking when you are just chilling with chickens, and all of a sudden, without warning, one of them just flies up 20 feet. You're like, what? They can fly? It's terrifying because you weren't prepared for it mentally. But on the Jersey Devil, I can't say if they're real. Do you guys think it's real?
No,
I hate to
I
say
think
this
like
'cause
final thoughts on it.
absolutely not.
see, I'm usually the Mulder to her Scully, and normally I'm like, yeah, it's real all the way. But after doing the research, I gotta call it fake. Like, it's a great cryptid for the state. It's like their state cryptid. They're like, hey, we got the Jersey Devil, come visit us. Like for Mothman, how he's like the state cryptid, but it's like in his region. But it's like no guys, it's not real. Either that or it died. And I am wounded having to say this. It hurts me. It hurts me, Bunny. It hurts me so much.
You're wounded.
I am.
Wounded.
But
You
yeah,
don't
I
want to
got that.
agree with me.
I know this hurts. I don't like to agree with you. I
Someone
don't
buy a
like
lottery
to
ticket.
know.
Oh.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get real lucky tonight.
Phrasing.
Wow, wow.
Phrasing. Okay. All right. Cool. Well, thank you. I really appreciate that you did all of that research about Jersey Devil. I feel like I have a better knowledge base and grasp of it.
Yeah, I just wish I had been able to prove my point. Like, it's real, but instead I'm like, Gosh darn it, I'm proving Ty's point that they're not real.
Hey, you can't win them all.
It does tickle me so much that every time she does more research, she's like, I just keep proving your point and not mine. I'm like, I don't even have to do any work. She does it for me.
I do. Every time we're about to do an episode, I do all this research to prove my point, and I have her ready. I show up with a huge stack of paper. She's like, that's for me? I'm like, yeah. And I have like 1 or 2 pages of paperwork. And I hate it every time because she doesn't have to do shit. She just waits for me because I'm going to prove her point.
She's like, I don't have to do any research. Al will do all of it. I love
Yeah.
it.
Every single time.
That's phenomenal. I love it.
Yeah, so far I'm like 4 out of 4. I have not succeeded in proving they're real.
Hey, I mean, maybe someday in the future, something you've previously debunked or thought you had debunked, more evidence could always come to light.
Oh, I hope so. I need more evidence on my side. Because Bunny, she's beating me. She's winning the game.
Listen, you can win a battle, but wars are strategically done. And with that, I think we should move to our next cryptid thing. Ty, I know you had something you wanted to tell us. Something you wanted to tell us about.
It is disgusting. It is terrible.
I'm here for
it.
it.
It is the awful.
It's the awful.
The awful. The awful is a creature that supposedly looks basically like a griffin that's about 20 foot, like wingspan. It's grayish in color. The only difference from it and a typical griffin is that it has a more serpentine tail and enormous claws. A traditional griffin doesn't have a snake tail. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of information about it, which, makes sense. It's a cryptid from Vermont, and Vermont's not a very big state. Like, honestly, I had never even heard of this creature until a couple years ago, because I follow, what's his last name? Joseph Citro, I believe is his name. He is a Vermont horror writer and, like, does a lot of digging on, like, ghost stories and, like, actual things, like, creepy things that happen in Vermont. And so...
It's crazy, because nothing happens in Vermont.
Nothing happens in Vermont. And if something does happen, no, it didn't.
No, it didn't.
No, it didn't. So I was looking it up, and basically it's a creature that has been spotted in the towns of Richard and Berkshire, Vermont. Supposedly there's been a lot of sightings, but the one consistent one is that it was seen by either 2 or 3 sawmill workers, and they saw it while they were crossing a bridge. It doesn't say specifically what bridge, but a bridge. And that one of the men was so horrified that he had a heart attack right then and there. He did live, but that's what they said. And this was in, let me just double check what the year was, 1920 something. I'm not getting an exact year again. And that's like, that leads credence to it as well. It's like, yeah, we don't have an exact year. We're just around this time.
We're ballparking it.
We're ballparking it. And the fact, like, it's like all these other cryptids that we see, like the Jersey Devil, Mothman, all these things, like, they're so short-lived, because around 1925 the sightings of the awful were slowing down, and by 1928 done completely, until 2006 when supposedly a woman said that she saw it. Supposedly.
Where?
Trout River.
What?
Yeah.
So
Near Trout River.
If I'm trying to remember, I'm from memory, I'm trying to remember topography.
Here, let me look
different
it
towns. I'm pretty sure that's not in the same area. It's
that's in Springfield.
Yeah, that's a bit of a, not a long trek, because Vermont's a very small state.
Very small state.
But, like, I feel like that in itself kind of, I mean, climate change is real. But
right. It's one of those things, it's a stereotypical thing, and honestly, I don't laid a lot of credence into, like, there's no, and we get a lot of these like, oh, I took a picture or here's some proof of it.
Where's
There
the
is
proof?
absolutely no photo evidence. We only have stories, which if you're from any rural area, that's usually what you get. You get stories. Supposedly somebody found a jaw, um in a petrified jawbone, but it was discovered by a logger in the Richford area, alleging to have been the creature's jaw because it had a lot of big teeth in it. Supposedly, it went to the University of Vermont to be examined. I tried looking that up. I found no evidence of this whatsoever.
Yeah, and UVM is very like, we have this, very exciting. Like, if they had it, they would absolutely be
Hmm.
flouting that shit everywhere.
Well, because UVM, like, despite the fact that we're a small state, UVM is actually a big school
Kind of a big deal.
on the East Coast. Like, somebody was like, oh yeah, there's this like paper that was been peer reviewed and is a big paper. Oh yeah, where's it from? UVM. I'm like, oh, that's crazy.
Like, weird. Because
I
in-state Vermonters are like, eh, do
yeah,
I
we don't
want to
give a
go?
crap.
Do I want to go there? Do I?
Did I?
Do I? No. I
But see, I
mean,
think part of the reason that it's got so big is the fact that supposedly it was the inspiration for H.P. Lovecraft and a lot of his creatures. Because I did find that H.P. Lovecraft did come to Vermont in 1925-ish, and he did write a book called The Whisperer in the Darkness that takes place in Vermont.
interesting.
However,
Interesting.
looking up that story, the awful is not mentioned at all.
Hmm. So, let me just kind of brain for a moment. I'm gonna use my street smarts on this. So, the idea of I found a giant burb skull and it must belong to a griffin. Megafauna, we literally just talked. Megafauna is an actual scientifically proved thing. It happens, it exists.
It
So
does,
if
and
there
as
was a big burb skull, maybe UVM doesn't have it, maybe Champlain has it. Who knows? Champlain College doesn't really talk about their shit, to be honest with you. But, and they're right down the road. But,
Well, and here's the thing is that um griffins, if you think about actual griffins, they're part lion, right?
yeah,
Like that's part of their makeup. There are large cats that live in the mountains around here. So it is possible that they saw a giant cat maybe jumping
Catamount.
from one thing to exactly a catamount, jumping from one thing to another. Or maybe they were even drunk because there is like it says they were walking on a bridge. They don't even mention what bridge it was,
There
where,
are
and
so many bridges in Vermont.
right?
Also, there's
And
nothing
they're
to do,
not
so you're gonna
even,
drink.
and like they can't even agree if it was two men or three men. They can only agree that it was in Richford. And oh, and this thing specifically says that they saw an unfathomably large beast perched on a nearby rooftop. So like it maybe there was a mountain lion sitting on a rooftop somewhere. I could believe
Chilling.
that. Bears come and visit everybody all the time.
Yeah,
It is so common to have a bear just walk up onto your porch and be like, yo, this bird feeder is mine now.
that's honestly fair and reasonable. As many times as I have seen a bear, just when I lived in Vermont, just how many bears are just comfortable coming up to your house and being like, hey, I like your garden. It's my garden now.
Like I know for a fact because my dad lives near the woods that he looked out one time because his dog was barking. He's like, what are you barking at? And there's a bear just sitting on his porch.
It's wild to me. I mean, definitely it sounds like there's not really a lot of concrete evidence about it, but there's nothing specific because there's such a lack of evidence. That also kind of leads into the maybe it was a thing. Or maybe it was like a thing where people just misinterpreted, like crazy mythical beast turns out to be a giraffe. Like, there's so many options there. I
The
am willing to
way,
suspend my disbelief, though, and think that it might be real.
well, like, Vermont is such a rumor mill kind of state because it's such a small state, and it's one of those things like everybody knows everybody's business kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like, for example, I told one person I was moving, and then the next day, somebody I had never met before was like, "Oh, hey, I hear you're moving." And I'm just like, "Do I know you?"
Like, first off, why are you perceiving me?
Exactly. It's such a rumor mill kind of thing. Rumors spread, like, and Chica can testify. Remember that mysterious letter that was going around and everybody was speculating who sent the letter?
Oh yeah.
And people were accusing each other left and right, and a lot of people who didn't like somebody was like, "Oh, I don't like this person because they're stirring up ruckus." So it was clearly them, despite the fact that if it had been that person, she would have written her name at the bottom proudly, been like, "Look, this is who I am, this is what I'm saying." She wouldn't be sneaky about it because she's not that type of person.
Yeah,
And it was
Costco.
interesting too because the letter was only sent to the men in each family and never addressed to the wives, which this person would also have addressed it to the wives, and she got a letter herself.
Yeah, Costco got a little bit of strife for the last, like, what, 2 weeks about?
2 weeks, I thought it was like 3.
I
It was quite a
Something
while.
absolutely,
There
like
was a
that.
whole
as
thing
off
going
air,
on.
I absolutely want to get this information.
We will tell you more at length afterwards.
Cool, cool,
But
cool.
anyway, the whole point is that these things get blown up. People, the rumor mill starts going. People get crazy, and then like Mothman or the Jersey Devil, it dies down until recent times. Decades and decades later, somebody's like, you know what? I bet this person read something about it. Went, that's neat. I'm gonna claim to have seen it.
Maybe.
And I think people like because we're such a small state, we try to cling to any famous thing that we can that like, oh, well, it was inspiration for H.P. Lovecraft because he's such a big name and he did write a book that was based in Vermont.
Listen, I mean, here's the thing. H.P. Lovecraft as a person,
Oh,
garbage.
terrible person.
Fuck that guy. Glad he's dead. But also, so bad. But also, I mean, you and I are both writers.
Hmm.
You always want to base something in truth. So maybe
Yeah.
there is something here, but we just don't have
Excuse me.
enough information, enough context, enough of that detail to specifically know what to discern as fact from fiction. Sunshine, you got any thoughts on the awful?
I do believe it's made up. And it wouldn't surprise me, especially if H.P. Lovecraft's involved. Like,
Yeah.
again, I love saying cryptids are real, but this does feel like something that was kind of made up.
What we
And
have to do is we have to get her to research it. She'll
yeah,
figure it out.
well, I did look it up after Caitlin was like, I can't find anything on this, and I found nothing, just like Caitlin did. And
Hmm.
as for finding like a big bird skull, I know for a fact that some people, I can't remember if it was in Johnson or Jeffersonville, but there was a farm that had emus on it, and they have pretty big
Oh,
skulls.
Jeffersonville.
Thank you, it was Jeffersonville, but yeah, they have like an emu farm, so it wouldn't surprise me if emu died, someone
I
took the
hate
bird
that.
skull.
I hate those. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
The
they're
whole area smells.
horrible.
Like right around the farm. I've driven
Yeah,
past it.
yeah, I hate emus with a passion. So I wouldn't be surprised if somebody left a skull there or if that's what they found. But it's not real. The awful is not real. I love the name though.
Super. I love the whole I love the concept. And who knows, maybe we'll get more information. But for right now, I'm comfortable saying plausible, not likely.
Also, real quick, I just looked it up for ha-has. A griffin is part bird, and I just looked
Bird.
up how old a bird can live, and the oldest recorded bird is a cockatoo, which is much smaller than a lion, mind you, lived to be about 100 years old. So it's possible the thing is still alive, but if it's real, suspending disbelief, it's possible. But then also real quick, let me just lion lifespan. Do.
35 years.
Adult lion lives to be about 15 years.
Oh. I was thinking of I don't even know.
So like, and if a bigger creature like that, they tend to not live as long. That's just how nature works. Despite the only like outliers are tortoises. But I believe that's
Tortoises.
partly because their metabolism is slow. There is a correlation between metabolism and lifespan. Like the faster your heart beats, it does seem to be the faster it beats, the shorter life you have.
That's terrifying.
Like in general, if you're looking at creatures.
Okay.
But anyway, but yes, I believe it is not real because there's just speculation. And like I said, living where I live and knowing what I know and how people are.
That's fair and reasonable. Thank you so much for bringing this. I had never heard of this before, so this was cool.
Yeah, like I said, I've lived here my whole life and I had never heard of it until a few years ago because I follow a specific person who posts this kind of stuff on Facebook.
Fair. Okay. Well, I'm so let's take a quick little break. Uh we will be right back with some more things that we need to know about. Things that may be real, that are super creepy. Maybe maybe we're going to find one that's real, Al.
I hope so. I really, really
I'm
do.
pumped and I need to know. But for right now, we will be right back. Hey, folks. Thank you so much for sticking around while we took our short break. Uh, we just heard about the clowns from 2016, uh, the Jersey Devil, and the Awful out of Vermont. And I'm pretty excited to tell you guys about this other one, especially since you did the H.P. Lovecraft tie-in. I feel like this might be something cool that maybe you haven't heard of, because I had never heard of this before researching, and I'm very pumped. So, it's a man-eating tree. Just gonna full disclosure that.
Mm,
It's a
I'm in.
legendary carnivorous plant. It's big enough to kill and consume a person or a very large animal.
Now, which region of the world is this from? I've never heard of it.
So it's in two different regions actually.
Ooh.
Um, Africa as well as Central American forests. Both
Ooh.
have folklore about this. I'm gonna mispronounce this word, the name of this thing. Yetivo. Yetivio? I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing and you know how to say this. Chat, please feel free to type that in phonetically because I would greatly appreciate being educated. So, this actually was first attested and cited and documented in 1874. And what this is, it was described as being native to these regions, and it would it would make a hissing sound that it would sound like a phrase in Spanish, ya te vio, or now literal translation, now I see you. And it had poisonous spines that would resemble huge serpents in an angry discussion. This is a quote from his reference. Many huge serpents in an angry discussion, occasionally darting from side to side as if striking at an imaginary foe. End quote. These spines would seize and pierce any creature that came within range.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I'm loving this tree.
I know, right? I
I
mean,
find it interesting that it's both South America and Africa that it's found, like legends like this, because those are both very warm climates.
yeah, I mean, if you're looking on a map where, like, the regions that these are specific, like, it's along the same, I am so bad. Is it latitude or longitude this?
I believe longitude is horizontal.
The horizontally one. Like, they're around the same lines. So, because I looked up on a map.
Yes, longitude is the angular distance of a place east or west of the meridian.
I mean, this isn't the only reference to a tree just straight up murdering and eating people. Like, there are other bits of folklore out there, other different adaptations that specifically talk about this in that same time frame. Um, like a man tree that originated in a fiction piece for a New York publication where someone would provide a sacrifice to the tree, and if the tree wasn't fed, it would find its own food. And then that, of course, that literary publication um, was the Madagascar Land of the Man-Eating Tree, also kind of based off of that first thing. And they were claiming, that tribes and missionaries in the area knew about the tree, and they provided these first-hand accounts. But even the author was like, I can't really prove that this tree really exists, or if this is just a story, a myth, something to scare people. And then there's not really a lot going on from that time frame onward until about a little less than 100 years later. Someone else writes something about different world wonders. Willie Ley, in 1955, in his book Salamanders and Other Wonders, he specifically disproved that the tree exists. The specific tree from their story exists. However, there are different regions who refer to different plants that are carnivorous, that are able to eat people. In Central America, I think it's called it's like a vampire vine or something.
Yes.
Ooh, I
and
love
they
the
call it, I think it's they use it in another public thing, like Devil's Snare. But
That's not, yes.
I think Rupert Grint's books, the Harry Potter series, specifically includes that in their lore.
Because that giant tree that's like on the school
No, that's a
ground.
whomping willow, but
Yeah,
it's like it's the stuff that, like, when you struggle, it gets you tighter. You know, like a Chinese finger trap, only
the vampire vine is a cryptid, apparently.
Yeah.
But there is like an actual, I'm trying to think of what it is. But yeah, there are carnivorous plants because like the Venus flytrap, it eats, actual living things, not just sunlight.
Sunlight and hopes and dreams. And also this cow I found. And honestly, to some degree, all plants are kind of carnivorous. Because how do you get a rose bush to flourish? Bone meal.
That's valid. Yes, actually, because if you bury a person underneath a tree, you'll find, and like leave it there, the roots will go into like the corpse, and actually they'll find a way into the bones where the marrow is.
So I'm hearing, for anyone who wants to grow a nice little garden, you got to take up another side hobby.
Yeah, collecting bones from your chicken wings.
Yep, that's totally what I was thinking too.
We would never suggest anything other than that.
Nope, nothing else here.
Wink. No, But no, I mean it is like both of these things kind of fall into that like legendary carnivorous, like legendary thing. Pro tips for gardening and hiding unwanted waste. Exactly, Shadow. Listen,
well, and to tie into like there was large fauna, there was also large flora.
Yeah,
everything used to be bigger.
Which is true, and we do have evidence of that. And if we look at folklore over the years that were told orally, it's quite possible that our ancestors had seen these things and just passed it down through oral stories, being like, hey, there was this giant thing here once upon a time.
I mean, even fossil records kind of confirm it to a certain degree.
That's true, they do.
And so also,
So I love the idea of this actually existing at one point. Whether or not it does now, that would be fun to find out.
It really would.
I also wouldn't be surprised if it was a local legend that kept children in line. Like, hey, don't go in the woods. That man-eating tree will get you.
Shit, that's a good point, actually, that I did not consider.
Another thing I was thinking of is like back with the conquistadors were invading South America and they were trying to find the city of gold. I think you remember that, Caitlin.
El Dorado.
And the natives were like, this doesn't exist. But instead of telling them that, they're like, oh, yeah. You want to go down this side road here, over the cliff, and you'll find the golden city. Like, you'll float in the air. And they're like, oh, cool. Goodbye, suckers. Like, they did that. They would tell these guys, what they wanted to hear. Like, oh, yeah, it exists.
Well, yeah, because if you tell them no, they're not going to believe you. So you're like, do I tell you no, which is the truth, or do I tell you a convincing lie that'll send you into the woods where you'll either die or just get terribly lost and I'll never see you again?
Right, so...
And you'll be out of my hair.
And if I do see you again, I could just be like, oh, you must have misinterpreted my directions.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, you had to go this other way. You're like, that's not on me, man.
Oh, you saw this boulder that was shaped like a bird? No. I meant this other boulder that's shaped like a bird.
Burb fact. It all comes back to burbs. But no, I mean, there's even plants out there now that have like big spines, like plants that are super dangerous to run into.
Oh, for real?
Like I can't remember what it's called, but there's like a tree that like when the tree is threatened,
It
it
explodes.
explodes. Like the
Yeah.
little barbs come out at you,
Mm-hmm.
which is super hot. Love it. Here for it. Good for you, tree. But also, I I get I don't want to just like walk through. I mean, I'm not gonna walk in in the wooded areas where those are gonna exist. Because I will not. I will just avoid it. But
It is the sandbox tree that is
sandbox tree.
native to the most of tropical America. The sandbox tree is among the largest trees of tropical America and is interesting for its pumpkin-shaped seed capsules that explode when a loud report scattering the seeds.
Hold on. Hold on.
Did you know
Did
it's
we
fruit
just
is
solve
poisonous?
this? Hold
We
on.
did.
Tropical America. Are they referring to Central America?
Well, let me look into more, 'cause it just says tropical.
And would it align with the region of Nicaragua or Madagascar on a
Um,
horizontal plane?
they were the globose seeds grooved into 15 sections in diameter and were used in colonial British West Indies as sandboxes for blotting ink. Some indigenous groups mix the poisonous latex with sand to stupefy fish. I'm trying to find actual information about this. Just a second.
Because what if we just proved it's real? Ow, this is it.
In a way.
This is.
We did it.
We did it!
Jackie, you did it.
Yep, the sandbox tree is
Funny.
native to primarily the tropical parts of South America and the Amazonian rainforest.
Funny, you did it. You solved
In
it.
addition, it has been introduced to Tanzania and Eastern Africa.
Bunny,
We just proved it! It is real! It is real.
It's not technically man-eating, but
I mean, it is poisonous.
I mean,
to
if
humans.
you're poisoned, if you were wandering through the forest, you were running, doing some stuff, and then a tree's barbed attacked you and you weren't paying attention, and you're disoriented because you're poisoned and you're like super fucked up. And then you're walking back into your village and you're bleeding, and someone asks you what happened, you're like, the tree. It's entirely plausible and possible that
yeah, the fruit of
your
the sandbox tree is
response-
poisonous, which can causing vomiting, diarrhea, and cramps if ingested. The
Ugh.
tree sap is said to have caused an angry red rash, and it can blind you if it gets in your eyes. It has been used to make poison darts.
Oh damn.
So
But part of the tree is also used for medicinal purposes, it looks
yeah,
like.
I totally get that. That tracks for me. So really, I mean, this could just be a situation where a game of telephone, floor lore, somebody encounters one of these trees, gets super like just fucked up over it, and then someone else sees them, asks them what happened, and their only response is like, "Oh, there's a tree over there. Their tree." Super angry, and then that becomes that tree can eat people.
And like I said, one of those things of like, stay out of the woods, kids.
Or if it disables you and an animal eats you. Yes, T. Look at
That's
this. We're proving it. It's real.
I agree. This tree is real.
Someone clip this. It's real.
The trees are
Facts.
real.
Yes, Chica, trees are real. Good job. I'm just reading it. It's really interesting because like the fruit looks like little pumpkins, but once they dry into seed capsules, they become ticking time bombs. When fully mature, they explode with a loud bang and fling their hard, flattened seeds up to speeds of 150 miles per hour and distances of over 60 feet.
So I'm hearing you could kill somebody just by being close enough.
No,
to
it says that as bad as this exploding seed pods are, it's the only way the sandbox tree can hurt people, and it can seriously injure people, but it doesn't say anything about people dying.
Aw.
But I
If
mean,
anything, the poison that people make
That's what kills them.
would, yeah, most likely be.
I mean, either way, I am loving this tree.
So yeah, the sandbox tree, people. Also this thing I'm reading says do not plant it.
I wasn't planning on it because I feel like that'd be a dumb decision on my part.
we would find out the hard way whether or not it would eat people.
Clown around and find out.
Clown around and find out. Oh my. Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, I am leaning to this being real. I feel comfortable and confident that we have proven a plausible explanation, and we solved it. We used our street smarts, and we solved it. Beautiful.
I will point out that we solved it, but it is a very reasonable explanation. It's not something supernatural.
Well, apparently
It's
nobody
just
else thought about
nature.
that. Nobody else thought about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's how a lot of supernatural things are, Caitlin. They might be natural, but we don't really think of it that way.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You're the one that's okay. You know what?
Fairy
I'm-
rings exist.
I'm not even
Do
going to
fairies
rage
live
because you're
there,
gonna just
though?
flip sides just to push my buttons.
Oh, I
We
had
just
so
like
much
to get you to
fun.
rage.
We do.
Why are you freaking like gaslight? Like, why are you freaking out? I can't deal with you when you're emotional. No.
Oh, I didn't realize you two were men.
We're Geminis.
Yeah.
There's a big difference.
Maybe. Wow, that makes me feel so.
Why do
just
I know of this tree?
accomplished.
I was able to look it up because I already heard of it. Why did I know this?
Tumblr.
I'm not on Tumblr like you nerd.
Ned.
York.
Where did I? You know, I don't even know, man.
A dork is a name for a whale's penis.
You whale penis.
I've given her a new name for me now.
Facts. Awesome. I'm excited. I'm so proud of me. And us. We did a great job.
We're proud of you.
Good
buddy. You did
answer.
great.
Good answer. Good answer.
Oh, man. So, I want to know, Al, because I know you had another one you wanted to tell us about.
I did. That's the thing I love. So ever since I was a kid, I love mythology, especially mythology all around the world. And recently, I found out about this. I think it was on March 5th of this year. There's this, I'm not going to be able to pronounce the name correctly, and I do apologize. But in English, it's called the Killing Stone in Japan. So it's this huge volcanic boulder that was said to house an evil nine-tailed nine-tailed fox spirit inside of it, right? Here's the thing.
Spirit.
Fox spirit. There we go. And here's the thing. It apparently, on March 5th, ended up cracking, like this just huge split right in the middle of it, and just ended up cracking the entire stone.
Right, wasn't it cracking a little bit beforehand, like slowly cracking, and nobody really thought much of it? And don't forget, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut in on you, but you showed me the thing. There was a protective, like, ceremonial rope tied around the rock.
There is, yeah.
And that wasn't that also split?
That was also split. According to one article I read, it said that was also split, yeah. So the whole thing's like cleaved now. And here's the thing, a lot of scientists are going, well, you know, this crack was there for a while, and with the colder weather, it was bound to happen. And then there's me, my cryptid ass, being like, you know what, now I need to go to Japan and find the nine-tailed fox spirit. Like, I'm for this 100%.
So why is it called the Killing Stone?
Oh, so there's a great, and like I said, this is why I brought it up, because I love mythology, especially Japanese mythology, because sometimes it will also take actual historical events and kind of blend it all together. And I love that. And my favorite story had to come from Lymphony, who's on YouTube, and like I absolutely love it, because the legend goes that once upon a time, a man and a woman were in the woods walking, and they found a little baby on the ground. Now, if you know anything about myths and stuff, two things will happen when you find a kid in the woods. Either you're gonna get a lot of great fortune, or a lot of great misfortune, because there's a reason a child's out there. So these two were like, you know, we're a couple, we don't have any kids, and this is a cute little baby girl. We're taking her home. And over the years as she grew, she was incredibly bright. Like, she was beautiful, bright, stunning, and she caught the eye of the current emperor, which I believe was, let me get his name up real quick. Emperor, I hope I'm saying this right so bad. Emperor Zhao, I believe?
Is it Xiao?
Zhao.
Zhao. Zhao?
Zhao.
Zhao. I think that's right, Caitlin.
Can you spell it out for me?
Hold on. Oh, no, sorry. Kone. K-O-N-O-E.
Completely different name!
I'm sorry, you're having us saying Zhao because that's what you think it is, but it's Kanoe?
Yeah, I had to look it up real quick. I was looking at two different things. I'm so sorry.
No.
Misinformation. Nope. Sorry, instantly wrong. No credibility here. Moving right along. Please escort the witness out.
Not
sorry.
even close.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I was thinking of two two different emperor. You know me. I am just that bad.
The second I was like, is it Zhao? And I was like, Avatar.
I think that's what I
General
was doing.
Zhao, yes.
That's what I was doing too, Jackie. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, this is why you two can't be together, because you bounce off of each other and it's just wrong.
It
Listen, we
is.
will circle the drain. We're gonna prove this one too. All right. So the Killing Stone. So she's super hot, super smart.
Super hot.
Um,
So from a young age, he takes her into the court to be a servant, and her name was Tamano Nome, I think. Tama Nome. I feel like I'm saying her name wrong.
you can always
But
type
that
it in chat, and then someone
Yeah,
can
type
spell
in
it
chat.
phonetically.
Yeah, hold on.
I will most
We-
likely be able to help you out.
Hold on.
Together, we will figure it out.
As long as you can spell it right.
T-A-M-A.
If she's got her books,
Uh-huh.
I
That's
know,
true.
Al.
Okay,
She's
she has it in
surrounded
front of
by
her.
books and sticky notes right now, and
Look,
she's
this is the girl
sifting
who
through this.
spelled companion. Okay, so Tamamo no Mei.
Yes, thank you. Yep, so he took her into her court. She grew and grew. And like I said, she was beautiful. She could charm everybody. And mothers compared her to their kids. Scholars would test her on her knowledge, and she answered all the questions correctly. She was smarter than most of them. And the emperor was just like, I'm in love with this woman. I'm going to make her my consort. We're going to be happy for the rest of our lives. And here's the thing. Remember how I said, finding a child can either bring fortune or misfortune on you?
Yeah.
So their love story was short, but very short and sweet, because after they got together, he fell ill. Like, none of the doctors could figure out what was wrong with him, and he just became worse and worse. They're like, we might want to call in a shaman or maybe a priest, because we're pretty sure this isn't anything natural. This seems supernatural. Whereas his consort, who wasn't sad, wasn't by his side, was just off enjoying her life. Like, oh, he's dying. Good for him.
Good for her.
Yeah, she's just living her best life. Like, I don't care. And so the court's like, okay, so let's call somebody in. And so they did. They found a famous sorcerer, and he performed a spell to figure out what was going on. And he accused the young concubine, being like, yeah, he's been cursed by a evil spirit, and I'm pretty sure it's her. And the court's like, no, I don't think so. But in order to prove, it's not her, they're like, okay, well, you'll perform this ritual. She'll be involved in it, and we'll prove it's not her. She didn't want to do it. She's like, nah, I don't want to do this. Like, why do you think I'm killing my man? And they're like, well, look, you need to prove your innocence. Otherwise, what are we supposed to think? So they perform the ritual, and as it's happening, her body starts to morph and change, and out of her clothes pops a 9-tailed fox, who escapes, from the palace into the woods. And of course, the guards hunt her down, and at one point, they finally, after days, stab her in the neck, and she dies, I believe, on top of the rock. And her spirit leaves the body and inhabits the rock. And anyone who comes close to the rock or tries to touch the rock, she kills instantly.
Hence the Killing Stone.
Good for her.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, right? Like,
That's some girl boss energy right
Girl
there.
boss energy. We're here for it.
right? Yeah, she's like, you killed me, I'm gonna kill you. Like,
Clown
fuck you
around.
guys. Yeah, fuck
Find
around.
out.
Yeah. Yeah, so, they proved the point, like, oh yeah, she was definitely, killing everybody.
100%.
anyway.
Totally a mythical fox spirit in a rock. Couldn't possibly be poor diet, exercise, ghosts in your blood, let's do cocaine about it. That's
I couldn't guess
probably,
her.
it's obviously witchcraft. I'm not saying it's not, but like,
But it could be.
it could
So
be.
anyway, after a long time, a monk came to the Killing Stone, and he actually spoke to the spirit of the young woman residing in the stone. And she told him her story. Basically, what happened was her family abandoned her and left her out in the woods, where before she was found by her adoptive parents, she was already cursed into the form of the fox. Now, when her parents found her, they're like, they loved her instantly, and she loved them. But here's the problem. Her father was part of the court, and at one point he upset the emperor. And so the emperor instantly killed him. He's like, yep, no, kill the guy. And she had loved both of her parents. So the death of her father hit her with such grief. She's like, I'm going to kill him. And she gave in to her demonic side of, I'm going to murder this man with my powers. And she even admitted that if that had not happened, she would have tried to live her life as a human being and died as one. And the priest is like, look, honey, I'm sorry this happened to you, but look, how about I free you from the stone, you try to move on, try to be better, and live your best. Try to what's the word I'm looking for? Karma. Try to fix up your karma and be reborn and stuff like that. So it's like, all right, fine. But the thing was, even after her spirit eventually left the stone, according to one myth, others say it didn't. The stone was still considered a force of evil. Like if you touched it, got near it, it would kill you. So they put a shrine around it. Covered it up with what is that called, Caitlin? Fuck, Ty. What is that called?
I give up at
Yeah,
this point.
we've leaned into it at this point. It's fine.
We're just going.
I'm not sure what you're trying to describe here, Chica.
Like charms or not charms, like talismans. Thank you, talismans. And all this fun stuff.
She psychically gave you the word talismans.
She did. To kind of keep it from harming anyone else. But like I said, there's kind of different stories on this myth. But that was one of my favorite ones to tell. And the fact that it's broken, and here's the thing, it's been around for a long goddamn time. So the fact that after hundreds of years it finally broke, I'm like, are we sure demon didn't pop out of this? Like, come on, guys. I know you're trying to say it's just wear and tear, but how much fun would it be if a nine-tailed fox just leaped down and was like, okay, time to cause some trouble.
It's the 2020s. Like, it legitimately could be either or.
It could be.
Like,
My
honestly.
thing is that it feels a lot like the whole Jersey Devil thing that we talked about. And it's like, this woman is too beautiful and too smart. Here's a convenient thing to accuse her of. Let's accuse her of it.
And Caitlin does have a good point, because this emperor really did exist around this time. And after, the story of the Killing Stone, he did pass away from sickness. So it's quite possible that, like I said, a lot of times whether you were trying to help lift an emperor up or try to dismiss him as the emperor by saying, oh, well, by telling these myths, you're kind of putting credibility or no credibility to the person. So Caitlin's right. It could be there's actually nothing in the stone at all, but it was a way of trying to say why the emperor died, or even, as Caitlin put it, to kill a woman that could have been a close concubine that was probably harming somebody else from getting into power.
Those are fair and reasonable things, but I'm gonna left turn it right now. I'm gonna left turn it. Floor spice baby time. Okay, so in many Celtic, Germanic, in those types of cultures and folklore, fae.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had a changeling child in these folklore, in these mythos, if you discovered that the fae had stolen your child and replaced it with another child, that the child you had is not your child, the way to fix it is to bring your baby into the woods and leave it there. And then at some point you would either go back. You would go back eventually at some point. I think it was like a whole day or something. And if the baby was alive, it was your baby. But if someone interrupted, tried to touch the baby, came near and interfered with the child swap, the alleged child swap, the baby would die. The fae would kill your baby.
Oh, shit.
But, I mean, also, if you leave a baby in the woods,
it's gonna die.
What the fuck do you think's gonna happen? Like,
infanticide is a real thing.
Like, exposure. We all know this. Exposure is the real danger. So the whole idea of they found a floor spice baby in the woods, but that she was so beautiful, so learning, and wise beyond the comprehension that people would normally associate to someone of her class and stature, my brain immediately goes to cool. So she's fae, and she's there to fuck up the emperor on a fae mission. And just the word, changeling. Changeling, shapeshifter. Nine-tailed fox. Boom. Solved it. And what if the stone wasn't? I'm doing this thing. I just want to put it out there. You guys can obviously tear me to pieces after this, but I want to say it. What if the killing stone was not a place where the spirit of the changeling, of the nine-tailed fox, went to reside in, but was a portal from which its spirit could transcend between our plane of existence and the plane that Fae exist on.
That's interesting, actually. I would
I
never
have
thought of that
zero.
way.
I have zero evidence of that, but
It's
that
just
is one
figured
thing
it.
I'm gonna spitball, throw out. You know, if you throw something at the wall, maybe something sticks. But like the fact that that lore exists, other places in the world that could potentially make the story plausible. Who knows? Who knows? I don't think this is real.
I don't
But-
think so either.
But I will say that you could make a hard argument that it could be.
You could make an argument. I still feel it's more along the lines of like the Salem witch trials or the Jersey Devil that we talked about. And it's like, especially when you were talking about the ritual and how she had to perform with the ritual. And instantly, the first thing I could think of was the Salem witch trials. And it's like, okay, we're going to throw you in this body of water. Either you drown and you're innocent, or you don't drown and we kill you because you're obviously a witch. Either way, you're going to die.
That's true. That's true.
Or
And-
like, yeah, we think you're a witch. Perform this magic spell to prove you're not a witch.
And then it doesn't work.
Do you
because
see
you're
how
gonna die
that?
anyway.
Do you see how that
Like-
doesn't make sense?
Mhm.
It does,
Like-
and that's true. That is very true.
It's
And
weird.
the reason it is so weird, but the reason I love this story is because again, it does tie into historical facts of things that did happen at that time,
Yeah.
and it makes it so fucking interesting to me when folklore and history kind of blend together so seamlessly like that.
I love that. I do. I have never heard of this. So this has been a fucking delight. I love this.
Oh, when I first watched it on YouTube, I'm like, oh my god, I need to learn more about. I absolutely did, but I have to agree with Caitlin. The fox demon probably isn't real, and I shouldn't go to Japan and try to find one.
I mean, we're going to go to Japan at some point.
I know, and I
But also,
really-
no, we're going to treat the nine-tailed fox like the Fae. You're not allowed near it.
You're not.
oh,
You specifically. Look what you're doing
Absolutely,
here.
you're not
We
allowed.
tell you on the stream, hey, let's try to use our usernames.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, no problem, Jackie and Caitlin. Like,
Immediately.
instantly.
Immediately. I loved it though. No, but the thing is, and Al, I love you so much. I wholeheartedly love you. But you absolutely be like, wow, this is such a nice clearing. This beautiful circle of mushrooms and this soft down heather. What a beautiful place. And oh my god, there's food here? Oh, my name is. And that is exactly how that would go. Thank you so much for the food.
Mhm.
Like, I love
Mhm.
you, but you are so polite and so sweet that you would absolutely unwittingly be like captured by the Fae immediately.
And this
Yeah.
is why you can't be a hoe.
yeah. The second you started saying like the clearing, Jackie, Bunny, I was already in. I was like, oh, a clearing? Yeah, I'm gonna sit down here for a bit. Oh, food? Yeah, as you were telling it, I'm like, yeah, I'm already in.
You're like,
hooked
I
in
was
this
already
thing."
there. Like,
Yeah, like if I saw a horse in the water, I'd probably go towards it.
No.
that is.
That isn't
Oh,
helping.
for fuck's sake! Don't do that.
That's the problem. I'm like,
Please
Okay, you're
put
not
her
allowed
on
to go
a
to Australia
leash.
either because you'd see a kangaroo in the water and go to try to help it.
No,
Kangaroos
no, no, no,
drown people.
No, I know better than to fuck with kangaroos.
Okay, you know better than
There
to
are
fuck
legitimate-
with kangaroos, but you don't
There
know
are
better than to
legitimate
go fuck with a
videos
kelpie?
everywhere of kangaroos straight up just wrecking someone by punching them in the face. Like,
Yeah,
this
see?
is a marsupial. It's got legs. It's got a big tail. Nah, he just straight up cold cocked you because you
I mean,
thought
have
you were
seen
big
how
and bad. I'm
ripped
actually.
they are.
They're. It's crazy. Like,
I've seen too many videos of kangaroos. I'm not fucking with one. I'm not even going to Australia. Like, fuck that noise. I'm out. No, thank you.
I want to go to Australia.
know,
I would love to,
right?
Caitlin, but everything there is trying to kill you.
I mean,
Bitch, the
no.
Fae would try to kill you.
I mean, we don't know that. They probably just keep me in servitude. And I've got you and Bunny to save me.
If you're stupid enough to fuck with the Fae, I ain't coming to save you.
It's not that I'm trying
Clown
to.
around and find out.
That yeah.
this is the best quotable. Phenomenal. Beautiful.
I'm gonna need you to get me the archive of this stream so I can do the highlights on Happily Morose, and I'm gonna call it Clown Around and Find Out.
Absolutely.
it.
I
I love
I
it.
will absolutely hook you up with that. Well, thank you, Sunny. I definitely appreciate this story. Fantastic. Learned something new. Had a cool little circle the drain thought process on it. And now I'm pondering. And that's what the whole segment's about. Trying to figure out if they're real or not.
And so far, we've only figured one thing was probably real.
And I'm the one that proved it. Go figure.
You and Bunny both solved it. 'Cause
Listen, it
Bunny's
was a
a
team. First off, we're not
team
being
effort.
graded on this, but if we were, all of our names are on the project.
That's
So
valid.
like, really? It's all gonna be fine.
So you girls like did 50-50 and I'm just here for the ride.
Yeah, you brought no, actually, because Jackie brought it up. Now I'm doing it. Thanks.
Don't worry about it. We're already there. That ship has
We're
sailed.
already here. The train has left the station.
We're already here.
I'll be better next time.
I don't believe you.
Neither do the Fae.
I will tell you all of my pertinent details, but you will not know my favorite color. That was from the sound check. No one else knows that. We were doing sound check. I was like, tell me your name and your favorite color. So she gives me her full name, and then she's like, my favorite color is blue. And we know that's not her favorite color. I'm not going to dox your favorite color because I know that information is sensitive to you.
Yes, that's more sensitive than my name.
Yeah, here's my full name, my social security number, where I live. Here's the name of both my parents and all my grandparents.
And my blood
You'll never
type.
know my favorite color.
You will never know. Beautiful. Sound checks are almost just as great. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing about the Japanese crackstone.
The Japanese crackstone?
That's what I have my shorthand for. Oh my god.
Killing Stone Crackstone. I love it. I'm here for this because yeah, it's cracked now. I don't think it could do any more damage.
Why would you say that out loud? It's 2022. Why would you do that shit?
Why would
Ugh.
it's too? This is why she can't go to the Fae.
I mean, I would prefer a nine-tailed fox over 2022 so far. Like, I'd take it personally.
Personally, the year's been pretty good to me, but
Nice.
Nice. So, Ty, I know you
Yes.
have another one that you want to talk about too.
I do, because this one is near and dear to my heart. And when I say that, I mean I'm going to punch people because I grew up around this.
I'm ready for it. I'm here for it.
And even as a child, I knew it was not real.
Bullshit.
And that,
It is real.
The child septic.
Skeptic. Look, I didn't even grow up believing in Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny. None of that stuff.
I believe in Santa Claus.
You're a child.
It's me. I'm Santa Claus. No.
Look, I'm not going to take advice from the girl who's going to get kidnapped by the Fae, okay?
It's valid. It's fair and reasonable.
I can't argue with that logic.
Like,
No.
damn, she bamboozled me with my own information.
She did.
So the creature that I grew up around is Memphrey, the lake monster of Lake Memphremagog. And if anybody knows, Lake Memphremagog is a 39-foot lake that is placed between...
It's more than 39 feet.
I'm sorry, my bad. 39 miles. I meant the miles.
I was like,
My brain.
I remember being on a ferry, dude. Like,
Yes.
Shortest Fahrenheit.
Yeah. But it is located between Newport, Vermont, United States, and Magog, Quebec, Canada. So it's very big, and Newport's like right next to Canada. It's one of those things. But it's one of those creatures that everybody supposedly sees. The very first sighting, supposedly, was in 1816. And supposedly there were 4 sightings in that year. There was one by Ralph Mary IV. There was also a person named Uriah Jewett, and another person named Stuart Channel and his wife. And interestingly enough, all of these sightings were in Quebec. They weren't in the United States. And supposedly it's...
Quebec.
Whatever, I'll say it how I say it.
Okay.
They reported seeing a serpent about 30 feet long with a horse head shaped head and a long neck above the waterline. And if you hear that description, you think it's very similar to that of Nessie or even Champ, who is another lake monster within the same region, Champ being from Lake Champlain, which is between Vermont and New York. And I think one of the big things that really turned me off about this is growing up in Newport was, you know, people would talk about it all the time. There was even a wall in the state building in Newport that had pictures, like sightings of Memphre. And they're all blurry things that were like a dark color in the water or what was clearly a log. And honestly, they're blurrier and even more crappy than the true pictures of Nessie. And I find it interesting that supposedly that the first sighting was in the 1800s, whereas the first sighting of Nessie, the first written sighting, I should say, was in 1933. Because I would have thought, because Nessie is a more popular one that people seem to know about, that Nessie would have come first. But apparently not. But what made Memphre so popular and how he got his name was from Jacques Boisvert, who calls himself a dracontologist. He even coined the frame. What's a dracontologist, you ask? Well, it is somebody who studies lake monsters and sea serpents. And like I said, it was coined by Jacques Boisvert in the 1980s. So, you know, you could be like, yeah, I'm a dracontologist. What is that? Well, it's a term I just made up. I can be what I want to be. Gonna girl boss this crap.
Girl boss.
He supposedly saw the creature several times. And along with Barbara Malloy, I don't know, who is the head of the Memphremagog Historical Society of Newport, they publicized Memphre, and that's what made him popular. What kills me is that there's a link to the Memphremagog Historical Society of Newport, and guess what? It doesn't go anywhere. It says 404 error, page not found.
Yeah, because
surprising.
someone's hiding the truth about Memphre. They don't want you to know.
I also looked up Barbara. And supposedly her first sighting, she's very specific on her first sighting, was at 5 p.m. on August 12th, 1983. And so again, she says the same exact description as these written documents. So she could have easily just read the written documents.
Been like, yeah, it's the same thing. Same thing happened.
Exactly. And I clicked on a link that she had because she also had a website for Memphre sightings. And the pictures like they have for the documentations, they're not even full documentations. You can't even read the whole thing because the pictures are cut off. You can't read all the full documents. The pictures that she does have that you can kind of see are literally just dark spots in the water. Okay. So like it's not even, and I've met people who are like, oh yeah, I saw it. And I'm like, I know you're a crazy person and I do not believe you. So yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. I would be disinclined. To think that Memphre was real if it was an isolated incident, or if it was along the same lines as something that's already been previously debunked. However, what suspends my disbelief about Memphre and about lake monsters in general is that, if I'm not mistaken, and you can correct me, someone please fact check me, the bottom of Memphremagog is pretty far down there.
Oh, let me see.
And that's just Memphremagog, if we use this isolated thing.
That's across.
And
It is 51 feet deep.
oh, maybe it's not. Maybe I'm not thinking of Memphis Magog. I think I might be thinking of a different lake monster. But there's like, all right, so maybe this doesn't work for Memphrey, but the fact that there are so many different lake monsters across so many different cultural lines, that kind of resurged, that had the same type of patterns of resurging, in collective memory, in sightings around specific times. That's interesting. Like within 50 years of Nessie sightings being documented, we have Memphrey sightings cropping back up that previously had been 100 years before.
Okay, and also I have to retract a statement. I'm sorry. That was the mean depth, like the average depth.
Oh.
The max depth is a point or of 351 feet.
So enough for pressure, like that's enough to instigate the bends. That's enough for pressure related changes to impact things living down there.
But like, if they're just what they're describing is something dinosaur-esque, and if the last known living dinosaur was 65 million years ago, and I looked up what the oldest tree was because trees we know live for a long time. I know it's not the same kind of thing, but that's the thing I can think of that's living that lives the longest, and the oldest living tree is only 5,000 years old.
Okay. So, I mean,
So they would have to, logically, they would have to be multiple of them and have to be able to breed to keep up the fact that there's still sightings for over 100 years. And then we're like, okay, over 100 years of sightings, but where did it come from originally then? So you have to think about the origins of it. And like I said, they describe it as dinosaur-esque.
right. That
And
doesn't
like
necessarily mean a dinosaur, though. I mean, there are creatures between dinosaurs and our time frame today, like saltwater creatures, like big shark crazy things that would eat whales for like breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Like scary sea creatures. It, in my mind, is entirely plausible that something like that could have adapted to freshwater lakes. And because we don't have living examples that we have like in a zoo someplace that we've studied and documented their gestation, their breeding habits, we can't really definitively say it doesn't exist in my mind. Because what if they have a clutch of eggs that auto-fertilizes? What if they're asexual reproducers? What if they just have a ridiculous long life, and because no one's been able to physically examine one, because at a certain pressure depth their corpses don't float up, like, it's entirely, in my mind, it is plausible that they could exist. And the fact that there are so many similar-esque lake monsters kind of points to it being a possibility. I have no proof, but
that leads to me, though, in my mind, that humans are just similar. Like, let's look way back in history. There was it Viking writing up in a cave wall? And everybody's like, oh, what is that? Way up there, the Norse writing. It must be something that's significant if it's way up high. And they climbed up there, and that all it says is, this is high up.
yeah.
Like, we haven't really evolved much. Like, we're basically the same as we've always been. And what gets me is that, like, let's think about it. All across the world, there's versions of like vampire stories. All across the world, something more realistic and tangible is there's different types of fried bread. Like, we
always go for the fried bread.
We have consistency just because of how our brains work. Even if we have different cultures, at our essence, we're the same, and like how we perceive things. And so it wouldn't surprise me if people just want to equate it to something like that. What really gets me is we live in an age of being able to digitally capture things well. So we have good photos and good video. We have technology that can go in the water to that depth and capture. If we can capture things like pictures and video of creatures that live at the bottom of the freaking ocean, we would be able to capture video or photos of these creatures. But all we have are these very blurry things.
What if they dig into subterranean river
I
caves?
really want to believe.
I'm ready to be like, I feel like Memphre, even if it's not specifically Memphre, the symbol of lake monsters. I want to truly believe that they exist. I understand your perspective, and you're absolutely right. We should have concrete data one way or another at this point. But the fact that we don't have concrete data stating that without a shadow of a doubt, lake monsters don't exist, that to me is also kind of a weird red flag.
It is
Because,
hard to prove a negative, though.
I mean, if you have the Memphre Magog is a perfect example. If we have Memphre Magog and we have a lake monster there, sure, you may not be able to disprove that lake monsters in general don't exist, but if it's a finite space and you have mapped it and you know that there's no way for this to escape, just drag it. Just go through and drag it. There are people out there rich people who spend stupid money on way stupider shit. Like, I would like answers. Like, just instead of doing stupid shit, find out if Memphre's real. Because
Okay,
I need to know.
No, that if I ever get stupidly rich, I'm going to spend a buttload of money.
Yeah.
Going to space?
No.
No!
Do I look like Bezos to you?
Oh, you're
Beffrey
Bezos.
Sorry.
Come on, Beffrey, you can do it. Back the way, put your pave into
Bo
it.
Burnham, what a icon. But, so if you get rich.
If I get rich, stupid rich, I will spend a buttload of money going to Lake Memphre Magog and proving without a shadow of a doubt that there is no creature there.
And I appreciate that wholeheartedly, brother. Thank you.
Look, I know I've always been skeptical, and that just makes me how I am. And I know last time I was here on Spooky Saturdays, I talked about an experience I had with the Nope.
Yeah.
However, it's one of those things of proof. And I know it's my own story. I'm not asking anybody to believe me about the Nope. This is just what I perceived. So this is my evidence. I know you do. I'm just saying in general, I don't expect anybody to believe me. I have no concrete evidence to hand you, and I understand that. However, I also ask for concrete evidence. That's my same thing. If somebody's like, "Well, I don't believe you don't have evidence," I'd be like, "That's fair. I'm not asking you to." It's these people who are like, "Yes, it's true," but then hand me nothing.
Oh, so T is in the chat. And she says, visibility in lakes is usually much worse as well. Marine biology is way more focused on the exploration of lakes.
No, I think she's saying marine biology is way more focused on than
Oh,
exploration of
okay. You
lakes.
know what? That makes sense. I misread because I have a cute little face. Today's a pretty day. I can only solve one a day, apparently. But no, I mean, someone.
I don't know. It's the fact that there's never even a clear picture. And I'll admit, Lake Memphre Magog can get foggy as crap.
Mm-hmm.
Especially early morning. It's foggy.
Also,
there was a time
Memphre Magog specifically, the water in Memphre Magog, you can't see shit.
No. Because I know there was one day I was walking next to the lake and it was almost like an unfinished painting. That's how cut off it was, covered in fog. However, with all these years, like that's what gets me. It's all these years, and not to mention that a man who coined his own scientific thing is named it. Like, it's like,
Man
yes, I'm
just
a doctor
man just wanted
without.
to sound really. She's like, nah, I gotta make myself sound super cool.
I'm a draconologist, and I'm like, that's cool, bro. But you coined the
Bunny,
phrase, like
what's your job? I'm czar of pertinent information. Thank you.
exactly.
Uh, I don't know. It's super interesting to think. Sonny, you have been quiet this whole time.
I
I am
have been.
so interested to hear you weigh on this.
Well, I was trying to find this theory I remember I heard years ago as a kid on sea serpents and why we have such trouble finding them in in lakes. And like you said, subterranean, sometimes there could be those caves that lead into other lakes. And because we don't have the technology or the research, funding for the research, we can't really dive in to see if that's correct or not for a theory. But there was another theory someone had that was a little far-fetched,
Far-fetched.
even for me, where the guy claimed that temporal spaces in the time space quantum or whatever it's called
Continuum.
was continuum, thank you, was what was causing this. Like these sea serpents, if they were actual like dinosaurs prehistoric times, they, like they weren't opening it, but somehow these spaces were opening up and
They
allowing.
were temporarily shifting between timelines along the continuum from their time when they were just chilling badass dinosaurs in lakes to
Yep,
like the 1950s, and then when someone went to check, they went back because of a
went back.
flux in the
Yep,
energy field. Boom. That sounds
yep,
crazy, but I also really enjoy how that sounds. Like,
right. That's why I was
that's
trying to look up who
cute.
first.
That's cute.
Right. Thank you. That's why I was trying to look it up. I'm like, wait, where did I hear that from? Because I remember hearing it as a kid. This guy was trying to explain how this worked and why that was the reason why we couldn't find evidence of these sea creatures in lakes. And as a kid, I was like, okay, it's a little far fetched, but it does make like if you can prove the theory, it would make sense.
How would you prove that?
I'm not sure.
So, in order to prove that, you have to first prove that Rosenberg bridges, Rosen bridges. I can't remember the name of it, but it's the idea of wormholes through time and
Wormholes, yeah.
space. You
You
would
have
have
to
to be
prove
able to
that
prove
first.
that first, and then you would have to be able to map a specific instance of it. And then, in order to prove that this is specifically what's happening, it has to be repeatable. So it has to continue to happen. The
Yep,
issue
and
with
that's
that being, if these are one time instances, that you wouldn't be able to replicate the results.
no, you couldn't. And with this guy I was talking, he's like, because there's so many multiple sightings over the years, he's like, it can be duplicated in this certain area. But like I said, there's not enough evidence to support his theory, which is why I prefer like the in underwater terrain and caves that connect from one lake to another lake. That's why I prefer that theory so much more because it's more natural, and if when we have the technology to either prove or disprove it.
Yes,
So
I
And
did.
really the funding.
Even as a child, I heard theories of there were tunnels that connected Memphremagog to Lake Champlain. So it wasn't two different creatures in two different lakes. It was one.
And we do have some good pictures of Lake Champlain monster. I mean, we have some great ones at the what is that at Echo. So
Those blurry things.
The photos at Echo are garbage.
come on, guys, that's the only proof I got.
No, but here's the thing, actually, and this, in my mind, kind of supports that theory, is the fact that there's a lot of stuff that we don't know about cave systems. Because some caves people can't safely traverse and be able to extensively map out. For instance, there are areas in the Appalachian where there are hundreds of thousands of miles, just like in different directions, up, down, crisscross, applesauce, what have you, that haven't been mapped physically, but that we're able to like droid it. We're like, okay, the bot went this far and then went this far because we tracked it, not with GPS, but by the distance it traveled. And this is how we were able to determine that it's continuing to go down or up. There are so many cave systems just in the United States alone that have not been fully mapped, have not been fully explored, and we don't know what specifically would connect to another. And underground rivers between two bodies of water are absolutely a thing that exists.
They are, and it's wild because we don't know what kind of animals could be going through those things either. Like, it would be amazing to really be able to map them out with new technology and see how far these actually go and what connects to what.
Someone fucking fund this, please.
Please, stop funding
Please!
programs. Start funding research in lakes and oceans. Come on now, guys.
I mean, oceans, honestly, like, here's the thing about ocean exploration and marine biology. Like, even with the funding that gets thrown at it, which isn't enough, not nearly enough, we
Not nearly,
still, I
no.
think it's like something super, it's less than 10% of the ocean floor has actually been explored. And we're finding every year hundreds of thousands of different species of aquatic life that we didn't know about before. Like, so I get the idea of, like, we want to map this out because this is not just one particular region's issue, it's everyone's. We should find out what's there. But on the other hand, if you have a finite space to research, that's gonna take less funding overall than full sea exploration. Like, it's something y'all could knock out in a decade and be done, you know, versus, like, we're still gonna be hundreds of years from now exploring the sea, trying to get a safe way to map the Mariana Trench. Like, it's interesting, super crazy. I love thinking about lake monsters. I really appreciate that you brought this back to Memphis because I'm from that area. Like, I love it. Thank you so much, brother. Do you guys have any final thoughts on this?
Is it real?
I'm gonna stand by my stance that it's not, especially since I just Googled champ pictures, and it's like, here, this is a picture of it. I'm like, that could be a log. That could be a freaking piece of driftwood, especially since you don't have any scale, like, to judge.
There's no banana in this photo. I have no idea how big this is.
And not to mention, as I was trying to find pictures, it's like, oh, how about this picture? But it said it was of Champ and it was of Nessie. It's the same exact picture. Or another one. It's like, yes, this is Champ, but this is also Lake Bartholomew. So the fact that even Google's like, we don't know what lake this is from, does not help me.
It's lake. It's lake.
It's lake. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry.
It's lake creature.
Yeah.
Very spooky.
It's, like I said, it's just one of those things, especially growing up around there. And like, the only people who were like, yeah, I saw one, or the people I was like, I do not trust you,
like,
with an ounce of my life.
You know what the fuck you're talking about.
You know, and like I said, there's pictures, but again, it's like, I can't see anything.
Get better pictures?
Go ahead, get better pictures.
Just be better.
Just
Yeah,
do
come on,
better.
Cryptozoologists, please, make it easier for us
I just
to
find
believe
it
you.
very difficult to believe.
I mean, they're trying their best.
They're trying their best.
They are.
Well, this is kind of one that I think we should all dive in on a little bit.
Ooh.
You know what I'm gonna bring up.
I do. I'm so excited for this.
Goatman.
Stand on your bridge, goat man.
So, like, here's the okay. I'm gonna pull up the story. I'm gonna do the story bit, and then I want to talk about all the other people who have looked at it, my thoughts on what it could potentially be, and I also want to talk shit about one of the people who had researched it.
That's what we're here to do.
Because I can do that. Goatman.
Not like Mothman. His name is legit.
This is Goatman.
Well, and one of the things about Goatman that really kills me is the fact that everybody's like, oh, look at this picture of Goatman, when that is a proven fake photo that somebody made for a Photoshop contest.
Or like when people put just pictures of like a fawn, and you're like, cool. So
Like I
this
said, I
is,
googled it, and there was one that was like clearly a man, and it's clearly a man in a suit.
I see that picture, yes. I can believe that. I mean, people are always gonna try to be. I mean, think about in the MCU, like Marvel universes, like where Peter Parker sells pictures of Peter Parker in a Spider-Man suit, like to make money. I'm not saying that Goatman's taking his own shitty photos in a Goatman suit, but I'm saying like it wouldn't surprise me if someone was just trying to cash in on a thing that's already happening. But let me get into the story on it. So there's a lot of stuff that. Oh wait, this is the wrong one. I'm looking at the wrong story. It's supposed to be. It's Goatman's Bridge.
A
The
llama?
Alton Bridge. This is the one I wanted to talk about.
He's supposed to be dead.
It's supposed to be dead. So, Old Alton Bridge. Goatman's Bridge. It's a truss bridge connecting two cities in Texas, Denton and Copper Canyon. It's a rickety old it's a truss bridge. It's pretty straightforward if anyone's ever seen it. Like those types of bridges.
Oh yeah.
So it was actually fully used as a functional bridge until 2001. Until another fancier bridge was made that could actually accommodate and not be sketchy as fuck. Because bridges that are old at some point even they are going to structurally wear down. But the bridge legend is that it's haunted by a man who's half a man and half goat. And he's called Goatman. There's a couple of different things that it's based on the legend of a black goat farmer, Oscar Washburn, who moved his family to a residence just north of the bridge, but they would refer to him as the Goat Man. But because he was a successful man of color, Klansmen in 1938 crossed the bridge, kidnapped him from his family, and hung him over the bridge.
Aww. That's not okay.
And when they went to look down at the noose, after hearing him die, they saw that the noose was empty. They returned to his house and killed everybody. The legend is that if you cross the bridge at night with your without headlights, on the other side of the bridge will be Goatman. The reason being that the whole thing is Klansmen drive across the bridge without their headlights or whatever. And there's been reports of ghostly figures, strange lights, on the bridge as well as in the surrounding woods. People who have reported being touched, grabbed, or having rocks thrown at them. A lot of different paranormal investigators have gone out there over the years to try to prove or disprove what is and isn't there. I know from additional research on my end that you can't confirm the story of Mr. Washburn having existed in that area or that incident from 1938, that it's a part of the legend. There's not a lot to be said for what the situation is, but at the end of the day, one thing is very clear is that people are having the same types of experience. So is it a shared phenomenon? Is it actually a ghost? Is it a demonic entity, as some paranormal investigators have suggested? I mean, there's not really a way to cool. So it was freezing temperatures ghostwriting and EMF5, it's a demon. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not phasmophobia. You're not gonna be able to definitively at this time say for sure, like, yeah, it's this or that. But the fact that they've had multiple people go out there with mixed results is kind of interesting. Do you guys have any input on this before I just lay into some shit?
Well, the truth is, I don't know much about Goatman except what I saw on, the first time on BuzzFeed Unsolved. So I don't know enough about it. So I'm ready for you to lay in and give me all the information I need.
Brother, what about you?
I'm sure you know my opinion. I'm sure it's a mix of, local legend and just fear playing on people as they do these things. Or even, it's one of those things of like, oh, if you cross the bridge with your headlights out, like that sounds like some like high school teenage prank bullshit to me.
And
It's
when
like,
they
oh, I'm
got
gonna
out
do
of the
this.
car, there was a hook. Like,
Yeah, it. So that's my personal opinion about it, but I would love to hear about yours.
So kind of going off of the different investigations that have gone through, BuzzFeed was one of the like more notable people who had gone out during their like supernatural like adventures. Shay Madej and Ryan Regara loved it. Also, Ghost Adventures. This fucking cunt Zach Bagans. Gonna just real quick talk shit about him. Cause I had a friend who was like, "Have you heard of Goatman?" This was like a couple years ago, and I was like, "I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. This is in Texas. Why would I know about it?" And they were like, "You need to watch this episode of Ghost Adventures." I didn't know what the show was, never heard of it before, never actually watched it. So I find the episode, I watch it. There's a lot of things wrong with it that, like, not like, oh wow, they had bad information, but just like procedurally. And I, first and foremost, loved the Ghost Hunters series, where the two, like the general contractor and the plumber, go to investigate ghosts. Like, that shit's cool. Loved it. Fantastic. Because they're like, oh, you thought it was a ghost, but like, you have shitty wiring. But we got you, because I'm actually certified to do that. But no! So this guy, his whole thing is he goes around and he antagonizes spirits, and he has a group of people with him, and they do research, and they have a cool little van, bus, whatever you call it. One of those like tour buses. And they go around and do this, and he also has like some crazy museum where he buys cursed objects and just kind of like has them there. Like, there was a thing apparently where he bought a Dybbuk box, and then found the original owner whose mom stroked out from it, and put him in the room and opened it and left him in there. And he recorded it. Yeah, I haven't actually seen the shit. Like, I haven't actually watched the episode because, again, I don't care to see Zach Bagans' face or like give him any of my like views. But apparently, he essentially tortured this man with the spiritual object that potentially killed his mother.
Like, that straight up is just psychological torture.
Not only is it psychological torture, but if you believe Dybbuk boxes are real, which that's a whole other thing. We could totally dive into that later at a different time. But like, why would you do that? And also, why would you do that and then internationally broadcast it? Like, that's shitty. That's awful. People who do shit like that are mean. I don't like mean people like that. That's rude. Also,
some people don't care if they're famous or infamous.
It's gross, and I don't like it. There was this dude who went with him to Goat Bridge, whatever. So in their thing, and I couldn't find any information to back up these claims. So again, I didn't find anything that said it didn't happen, but they were basing their investigation on personal accounts of people who were like, I am a woman. I felt in danger. I was in danger. I felt sick. I felt like someone scratched me. I felt like someone pushed me. I felt like someone grabbed me. I got nauseous. I had to leave. And men just being like, I got straight up fucking yeeted, you know? And just like crazy accounts that, again, I could confirm. So they based their investigation on this. They had a girl with them, and she started experiencing the same types of feelings. So she left. She didn't come back to the investigation. And then they go under the bridge. They're looking, they're seeing stuff. Whoa, what's that? Cut to commercial. You know how like ghost hunting shows do. Where
Mm-hmm.
like they like make a random noise and they're like, oh, it's a fucking demon. But they had this dude who goes under the bridge, and there's another cameraman. This dude, he seemed like the sweetest guy ever. The whole time, this dude, this fucking dick, Zach Bagans, is on top of the bridge, screaming at this spirit entity, what have you, goat man. He's being disrespectful. He's like, fight me, punch me, do something, like antagonizing it. Now, if I'm a fucking ghost, or if I'm a demon, and I've got some dude popping off the mouth being disrespectful, absolutely, I'm gonna lay him out. Yes. And he did. He experienced stuff or whatever. He, like, quickly left. But before all that popped off, around the same time, there was another dude and a cameraman underneath the bridge. And this one guy was like, I'm gonna summon a demon to fight Goatman. I shit you not, this is what this man did. So he starts a ritual, what have you, never finishes the ritual, and just leaves it there.
Everybody knows you have to finish it and say goodbye.
Yeah, like, I feel like that's common knowledge, even if you're not into those practices. Like, don't leave shit unfinished. Don't leave it just lying out. That's bad. And then they all leave, and they're like, oh, it's for sure a thing, like, scary. Ah. And then we have other investigators who go out there. There's a couple other that go out there, but notably the BuzzFeed one, they have these two nice gentlemen who come out, they're respectful, even when they're being playful, like, it's my bridge now, goat man, you're about the cult stuff. They're not antagonizing. They're not to the, and again, this may be subjective, but comparing their interactions with this one dude, I don't see them being antagonistic. Like, if I was a spirit there, I wouldn't view their interactions as a threat or something I needed to correct. And they had a very pleasant experience. They didn't experience anything mean or negative. They never got sick. They never felt like they were pushed or anything like that. They even had a Ouija seance situation on the bridge. And they were good. They didn't have any issues. So it leads the question, is it real? Maybe. I mean, there's nothing to prove that it is. I mean, there have been some unsubstantiated reports of cultists, satanic cultists or cultists of like whatever, who murder cats in the area, which is a dick move. Don't do that. That's mean.
Don't murder cats,
Don't-
murder people.
No, that's not the message we want to spread.
That
Don't
is
murder cats.
bad.
Murder people.
Don't.
Yeah,
Just don't murder. Listen. Chill out. Drink a 7-Up. Eat a moon pie. Just quit murdering. In general. But
You guys are killing my vibe.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to. But no, so here's the thing. Do I believe something's out there? Probably. Because, there's a lot of stuff that we can't prove or disprove. But, like, maybe we just don't understand it. What is magic but science we don't yet understand? Right? Right. That's my thought on it. But here's me circling the drain. What if it's not a demon? What if it's a water spirit? Now, water spirit.
I say you have brought that up before in private conversations that we've
Yeah.
had.
I mean,
I mean,
think about it though. Think about it. So across different cultures, spirits associated with water, rivers, lakes, oceans, they're spirits of water. That's what they do. They're water. It's the same thing. And just like water, they are fluid to change. Now, if somebody's stirring up water, it's going to get turbulent. And things that are there are going to get tossed around. The whole idea of riling up a water spirit and feeding it someone's name in different cultures is totally a thing. So, the fact that these women are not only in that one episode, in that one instance, that I couldn't substantiate anything outside of that, where they're feeling like they need to leave. All of those stories, the key thing that was included in their notes, again, cannot substantiate any of this, but in the tale of Zach Bagans' fuckery, these women were in situations with men that were going to hurt them. And by them leaving because they felt ill, they actually were saved from those men. So, what if the water spirit's just like, yo, I hate dudes. I hate specifically a certain type of dude. A dude who has no respect for other people. And they're antagonizing me. And that's why some investigators experience nothing, but those that are not respectful get it. I have no proof either way. It's an interesting thought to ponder. Not a lot of lore can be confirmed with the Goat Man situation. My favorite point of talking about it is that whole like headcanon theory I had of like, oh, it's a water spirit. And also just to express my disdain for that whole investigation situation. Like it really made me mad, just like the whole thing. Because if you're an investigator, and I'm not a paranormal investigator, but if you are, why would you go in trying to fight somebody? You know, like you're there to gather evidence, just gather evidence. Why are you trying to fight? And if you don't know how dangerous something is, why would you, like if you're going to a cave where a bear is, are you going to try to fight the bear that you don't know if it's the only bear in there? Or if it even is a bear? What if it's a mountain lion? It's the same thought for me.
I mean, personally, I would hope no one's going into a cave. I mean, that's the dumbest thing you could do. Maybe it's
People
are
dumb, like historically.
People are dumb.
That's
historically.
fair, 'cause I'm from Vermont. Like, if I'm looking at a cave and I think there's something in there, nope, backing out.
What cave?
If I can't see the back of the cave clearly from the entrance of the cave, I'm not going in.
Yeah, no,
For sure.
run.
For sure.
So I do like your theory a lot better than it just being some sort of demon, because your theory has more evidence to it, I feel, than just some random demon being there like, hey, yo, I'm here. I'm chillaxing.
I mean, it's circumstantial evidence, like, at best.
But still, it's like evidence you can put on the whiteboard and be like, okay, I've got it all connected. I've connected the dots.
We're making connections here.
I will say that it is interesting. I think it's partly because of our culture that everything is attributed to demons here.
Demon.
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 It's me, your boy.
Yes, we know you're the demon.
I'm not a demon.
But it is
That's what
interesting
demon would say.
because of our roots in this culture and it being so widely like Christian-esque. So most things, if there's
so what you're trying to say is that
Judeo-Christian, yes, thank you,
Judeo-Christian culture in this region
is so pervasive.
It impacts the mindset of those experiencing things.
Right, like all the time, like even those, like all of us here, I would like to, I'm assuming, I'm sorry if I'm saying too much, don't believe in the Judeo-Christian God.
I mean,
Or
it's
have less
no.
credence to it. Either way.
I go by what I know, what I see. That's how, as far as much as I want to go into it.
But we still say, because we grew up around like, oh my God, Jesus Christ, like things like that, just because it's part of the vernacular.
Yeah,
And we grew up
colloquially,
hearing
it's what you do. Yeah.
So it's just interesting that we associate things with demons because of Judeo-Christianism, whereas I'm sure other regions have different terms.
You know, even just the concept of demons, it's so wildly vast and different across the board, depending on the cultural lens that you're viewing it from. It is crazy to me. Like, it's wild. I would love to dive into it in a separate segment, and I probably will. Who knows? But no, you do have a point though, that like our surroundings culturally, morally, objectively are going to subjectively impact how we're going to perceive something. So like, if you only know that bad airs and miasma cause illness, and that someone's blood is possessed, cocaine about it probably is the way to solve ghosts in your blood. But like, that's just based on the information you have available to you, based on the context of the culture that you are surrounded in, the lens you're viewing it from is going to be based on what information you have available to you at that time.
Mm-hmm.
It's super interesting to think about. So do you think Goatman's real?
Yes.
In the way that most people know it, definitely not. I'm open because of my own experiences. I guess I am open to a spirit that inhabits nature in that area that may react very strongly if people are purposely provoking it in a certain way. But I don't believe there's an actual demon that's just crossing the bridge back and forth like fee fi fo fum, who's that clip clopping on my bridge kind of thing.
I love it.
Clip clopping on my bridge. The fact that you're willing to suspend disbelief to that point is comforting to me. Al, we did it.
We did it.
We did it! Oh,
We at least convinced her to be like, okay, I'm not saying it's not real, but I'm not saying it's real.
I
We
mean,
got
she's
her to
open.
that
She's
point.
open-minded about some things.
Yeah.
It's
Very
because I've had some experience with certain things. And it's partly the fact that I'm almost convinced that something was trying to kill me when I was a child. So there's that.
Yeah.
But I will suspend my disbelief hesitantly.
hesitantly. Okay, I'll take
Victory
that.
still victory. Yeah,
I'll
definitely.
take that every
Victory,
day.
victory.
But you're not going to convince me that lake monsters are real.
We're gonna get you there. Okay?
Look,
I don't believe in chance.
we have the tree. Take the tree. Be happy with the tree.
So to quickly recap the full episode, just in a quick little bit, today we have talked about some stuff that has happened, stuff that may have happened, folklore, people's interpretations of urban legends, different cryptids, and spooky shit. 2016 clowns, maybe that was a thing. There were definitely a lot of reports about it. Jersey
There were
Devil,
definitely creepy clowns.
creepy clowns. I mean, they're definitely creepy, for me at least. I never saw one, so I can't really. I never saw one in 2016, just chilling, so I can't confirm that with my own experience.
That's valid.
Jersey Devil,
Fake news.
fake news.
Fake news.
But more evidence might come to light in the future.
Never know.
You never know. The Awful.
No.
Maybe.
Nah.
I believe
Maybe.
if it was something, it was a catamount.
I fully
I was gonna
believe.
say
I fully
no.
believe in that because people don't think mountain lions exist in Vermont. They absolutely do.
They do, definitely. Like, the cougars are starting to make a slow comeback.
They gonna get you.
Well, a lot of people are saying they're not coming back, but they're definitely coming back. There's been more sightings.
That's. I mean, so probably needs further information to determine
Definitely.
that one. The man-eating tree lore. We
Real.
solved that. We solved that shit
It's not
immediately.
man eating, but there is a tree that hurts people.
That we found that correlates to the area, to the region, um, to the time frame that could lead to situations that could be misinterpreted as a man-eating tree. So I feel like that's proved it. Um,
Real.
uh, the the Killing Stone in Japan. Not so sure about that. Might be
It's a real
Fae. Might
stone,
be Fae.
but we can't prove that it's an actual fox spirit.
That's true.
We know that the
That's true.
stone has cracked
The stone has cracked. It has cracked.
7 days ago.
Yep,
Today.
7 days ago. It's cracked. Cracked. It's cleaved. It's busted. And like I said, I am willing to go to Japan just to find a nine-tailed fox spirit.
You're
I
not
really
going
am.
by yourself. We're gonna put you on a leash. Love you.
You know what? It might be okay. We'll just make sure she doesn't learn any Japanese so it doesn't know what she's saying.
What? That's dangerous. I need to know some Japanese so I can
Adoring.
talk to people.
No.
What happens if I
No.
cannot?
You're gonna learn none. I will translate for
Just
you. That's
American
all
it.
you need.
Just talk loud and be an obnoxious American. Because everyone outside of America loves that. Don't do it. That's awful.
Don't do that, please.
Don't do that.
Do that though.
Um,
I just being myself, I could do that.
You know what
Mem3 of
she will
Lake
do? She will
Memphremagog.
wear a fanny pack.
Maybe. We're gonna
Yes,
get you to believe it eventually.
I'm not gonna believe in it.
Even
The
if it's not that one, we will
time-traveling
get you.
dinosaur, guys. I actually love that theory so much.
That sounds like, oh no, sci-fi just got a boner.
The dude with the alien hairs and like, aliens? Aliens?
yes.
And Goat Man,
Goat man.
probably something different. But like, maybe.
Yeah, I'd call him the water spirit.
I enjoy my little thought on it when I had like that was literally the first thought when I had watched both investigations. I was like, oh, this is what it is. Makes sense. Things
It
that just
does.
make sense to me.
It really does. I put it on the whiteboard. It's like, yep, this makes sense.
So we've covered a lot of stuff. I know that your YouTube channel, Happily Morose, has a variety of content that you've put up and that you're continuing to create and put up. And you've got something similar to what we just did today, the Are They Real, that you've been doing. I'm very excited about that. And for anyone in chat, beep, 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 did I do it right? I did. There's the link to their YouTube channel. Please do yourself a great service. Go to their YouTube channel, subscribe, watch those videos, and in true Bunny Bear fan factions, get in the comments. Talk about it. Let's solve it. Because I bet you all of us can figure it out. We're going to crowdsource it. We're going to figure it out. But
I love the advertising.
this is the jam. That's why we're here. We're here to talk about spooky stuff, hype your stuff. But I also want to say, Ty, you've been on here before. Al, this is your first time.
It is.
I am so excited that you guys took the time to hang out with me today and talk about these. I would love to do another segment like this in the future. So we'll leave that open. We can definitely talk about it. I do want to turn the focus, though, to you guys directly. Are there any projects upcoming that our viewers should know about on Happily Morose, or any other ventures you've got going on?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, you first.
No,
Ty.
go ahead.
No,
No, you first.
you first.
No, go ahead.
I first.
Yep, a tie first.
I
2 to
solved it.
1.
Okay. So as of right now, personally, I don't think we have any specific projects coming up that are new and exciting. I was going to I believe we have broached the subject, and it's something that I'm going to look into further. But possibly doing some actual, like, quote unquote ghost hunting around the region. We will be joined by my boyfriend, who will help us partly because he's going to try to fight ghosts, I think, but also another cameraman will be good. We're also going to try to recruit other people. I believe Lord Shadow, who we've all know,
He'll be on here
is,
next week.
yes,
Oh, yeah, that
he'll
guy.
also, I believe, was interested in joining us for that. So we'll have a couple people who'll be able to go. I know there's a couple places that are haunted in the local region. I'm not sure how we get permission to go there, but I will figure it out.
I need to connect you with someone who will be able to answer those questions.
Whoop.
But again, thank you so much, you guys. Al, was there anything outside of what Ty said that you wanted to?
Not really. As soon as we get together again, we're hoping to put out more content for the viewers. Really get everything kind of gyrating. I think that's the word.
Gyrating is not the word.
Gyrate is absolutely not the word. Um,
It is not the word. But yes, we unfortunately right now, due to personal lives and schedules, we're having a hard time getting together to talk about cryptids and do Are They Real? I do know that the next one that we were going to talk about in depth was the Nope.
Yep.
And
absolutely. I
then
will be happy to provide any information that I can help with.
so we were going to talk about that. Chica, was there any plans for what your next video for Hit It or your Tea on History was going to be?
I'm trying to remember. I had it written down now. I can't. I'm blanking. Oh my god. This is
Well, I
bad.
guess our viewers are just going to have to subscribe to your YouTube channel and hit that notification bell so they can keep up to date with all of the new and exciting content. Not a sponsor? Yes, a sponsor.
I love this sponsorship. We should pay
I'm
her for sponsoring us because she's doing a great job.
I don't have the money.
We'll get
You
her the money.
guys paid
I'm
me in friendship.
That's not nearly enough.
Oh my god,
We'll
shut the
send you
fuck up.
some
I'm gonna start
tubes.
crying. Get out of here. Uh, well, on that note, again, super thankful to our guest hosts, the
Thank you for
Mistress of
having us.
Misery, Tygrezz, and Sunshine Owl for Happily Morose.
And sunshine.
Yes, you are. You beautiful, beautiful, beautiful human being.
Thank
Um,
you.
I really do appreciate all of our viewers hanging out with us today, getting in the comments, just enjoying. And I hope you all do take the time to ponder whether it's about the stuff that we talked about today or maybe some other stuff. Are they real? Look forward to hanging out with you guys next week. We'll have Lord Shadow 27 on, and we're going to do a regular old fantastic Spooky Saturdays storytelling jam. Very excited. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Saturday. I know I'm going to sleep like a baby after all of these spooky things, especially since we proved one. Normally I'd raid, however, I don't see anyone on affiliated with projects that I do or any Shadow Guild creators, so I'm just going to end stream. But thank you again. This has been fantastic. Ty, Al, you're beautiful. Love you.
Aw.
Love you
And
too.
love you guys who are hanging out in the chat this whole time and watching. And for those of you watching the VOD, either on Twitch or on YouTube, super appreciate you. You're fantastic. And I hope you have a spooky time.